Hey everybody, Nick here at the front of the episode, recording by myself. Don't usually do this, kind of weird, feels a little off-putting, but yeah, we'll rock with it. First things first, thank you so much for everyone who interviewed with us. It was great fun, thank you so much. With our convention episodes, it's a little hit and miss whether or not the whole recording can be used just because of environmental factors. And, some of the interviews might be cut out or some of them may be unsalvageable and not used altogether. So we're sorry about that. It's what happens when we record live on location. So it's kind of unavoidable, but no worries. We didn't lose anyone's audio completely this time. But some of you might have some snippets cut out, so don't worry about that. Also want to mention that we're going to be at PlattCon this upcoming week. If you guys are in the Plattville area, come down and say hi to us. We're actually going to have a booth there and we're going to be selling some merch for the first time. So it's going to be really exciting for us. Also, before we get out of here, just want to let you know if you want to help out the podcast at all, you can subscribe to us on iTunes, rate us on iTunes. That always helps if we get a 5-star review every now and then from you guys. But most importantly, for these convention episodes, if you listen and like it, if you'd like to share it on any of your social media pages or anything like that, it helps us do more conventions and all that sort of good jazz. So it's just helpful, and it's also a free way for you guys to help us out. And unless your time is valuable to you, which I mean, I assume it is. So maybe it's not it's not free, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Now I'm just rambling. So yeah, let's just get on with the show, guys. Have a good time. And welcome to Unapologetic Geek Out, or the UGO podcast, where you can geek out with us every week and never have to feel sorry about it. I am, of course, your host with the most, Nick, the Merc with the mic, and my fellow unapologist to my left,
Travis,
the god of the pod himself, and of course, our news correspondent unapologist,
Mr. Zarian.
And I am so goddamn excited.
What are you on tonight?
You know what I'm on? I'm on the con high. I don't even have the con plague this time. I was immune just because of my goddamn enthusiasm, because you know how much I love con episodes.
And how much did you get to sleep during that weekend?
It has been too long. I got a good, real full 4 hours of sleep.
For all 3 days, right?
They were fantastic.
Hey, that was like me a few days ago, so I know that feeling.
God, you know what I really, because, ladies and gentlemen, this of course is our Anime Milwaukee episode, in which we have the lovely interviews from so many of you lovely con goers, attendees, artists, and all that other good stuff over at Anime Milwaukee that I was, lucky enough to attend last week.
But not me.
And well, they decided it could only be one of us, and I thought, that it would have been, more prudent if I were to go. I know how to work the microphone, and as far as I know, you don't even know how to turn it on. So that's, I think,
it's the round thing.
Mm-hmm. Is it the round one?
Might be.
Yeah, that round thing on the top. You just press that, right?
Yeah.
You press it in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm really not regretting my decision at all.
I remember those Fisher-Price toys. They taught me how everything works accurately.
Right?
But yeah, I had so much fun there. Met so many lovely people. Some of those people you will listen to on this podcast, including some great artists. I saw a Ruby fan panel where they asked people questions that pretended they were in the Ruby cast, as the cosplay thing. I met someone who makes armored D&D armored paintings of people's pets. So specific, so lucrative.
This is very specific, but
so lucrative.
Typically, the more specific you are, the more lucrative it can be.
Yeah, that was Cloverkin, and she was such a sweetheart that I'm actually going to mention her at the front here as well as during her thing. She was so sweet. She complimented me after the interview and stuff like, "You were so good. You have such a great voice for interviews." And I'm like, "Oh, go on."
Please go on. Really?
No, stop, but don't stop.
And let me guess, since I wasn't there to actually stop it, probably went on for way too long.
And of course, our buddy Trevor Mueller, who is on here, we love that guy. Oh man, what I love about that guy is the fact that I just love standing next to him. I think the reason I interview him all the time is that I just like putting the microphone into his smiling face, because he's got one of those smiles that is just too big for his face.
Okay,
his
I'm glad
smile
you said
makes
face when you said put the microphone into something.
his smile makes me want to smile. So I'm really into it. But yeah, I had a fun time. Some people had a little too much fun at the con, apparently. Yeah, there was I actually saw cops running around a couple times. Some police officers. Yep. Apparently, I learned later that someone was handing out Rice Krispie treats with hallucinogenics in it.
Oh.
So that was not great. Like, come on, guys.
I don't need to go to a Comic-Con to hallucinate. I'm already seeing crazy sights with all the cosplays.
Well, my whole thing is that he was, it was a deceptive thing of just like, haha, I'm not going to tell these people that they're about to hallucinate some shit.
Oh, no, that's bad too. I'm just saying. That's also...
And I'm like, dude, you just needed to ask. Like, I'll trip with you. You just like, don't like...
Don't make other people trip.
Yes, but I will take the Rice Krispies with hallucinogens. Why didn't you ask?
But yeah, fuck that guy. Whoever did that. That was lame. And I always hate it when sometimes stuff has happened at that as previous conventions, and I always feel like everyone here is here to have a good time and feel good, and
you're just gonna ruin it.
You're just gonna be a dick about it. I hate that. But yeah, also I love conventions too because I got to see some of the late night panels. I got to see Johnny Young Bosch play Cards Against Humanity, which was great. I entered in the room late, and of course everyone turned around to me and started to chant, "One of us, one of us," which is when I realized that at a convention you have to have the exact opposite instinct of your survival instinct.
Yeah,
because. Your instinct there will have to be like, oh yeah, I should sit down and play with these people. These seem like nice people.
Yeah. Whereas anywhere else it should be, no, get out of there. You're at a horror movie. Run.
Well, if you were to imagine if you go into the office and you're at a board meeting and then suddenly Dave walks in and everyone just starts to chant one of us, one of us, you would flee in abject terror and go like, it has started. The pod people have descended. It just like the old gypsy woman said.
You see like Donald Sutherland there, just the...
No, God, no! So yeah, also met up with our friend Alizarin Crimson there.
Okay.
She was fantastic. I got to meet with her, and you know what? I actually like her so much. She is one of the people that I'm on a hug basis with. Travis knows this about me. Most people don't. Is that I'm not crazy about physical contact
unless it would make someone else uncomfortable.
Well, then it is definitely on the table. I'm all about other people's uncomfort, but not my own. But no, seriously, I have a thing about like my personal space. I have like it took me a while to even get into the handshake thing of just like, I'm not really
true. Like he actually, anytime he gives money, like he has to pay for something, he just sets the money on the counter.
I don't like touching people. Like it's not anything against them. It just makes me uncomfortable.
Well, you shouldn't touch without consent anyways, Nick, so.
So the lesson here is, ladies and gentlemen, if you see Nick in a convention, hug him.
Definitely hug me. Yep. It'll definitely be fantastic. So, you know what? That's actually not a bad idea to let people know, like, hey, if you have seen me at a convention or if you did and I tensed up when you hugged me or I felt like it was like, that's not you personal. That's just a thing. Like, I don't, it's just a weird thing that I have.
I mean, to be fair, sometimes it's awkward when you get a random hug from somebody. Like, when I went down to Austin for the DT convention, I met with some of the people from the Midnight Chat Attack that I do with our little chat group. And, he was super excited to see me. So he just ran up and barrel hugged me, like just lifting me up in the air. I'm like, okay, I'm really excited to see you, but that was a little much. So, I mean, that's totally understandable. Like, you having your hesitance with that. So.
Yeah, well, some people are definitely huggers. Like, they're very physical in their contact, and that's how they show, like, affection, and that's that sort of thing. So I get it, and that's why I don't make a big stink about it, like, when I'm like, oh, no, don't hug me or whatever. Like, I just want to explain so if that anyone sees me, like, that's the reason I tensed up, not anything, like, personal against you. But anyway, yeah, Elizabeth Crimson is one of those people, like, you know what? Yeah, bring it in. Let's hug it out. Let's hug it out. She is fantastic. She actually, participated in the masquerade, I think, that time. Usually she didn't have a booth this time.
Okay.
So she got to spend more time at the convention. I was a little drunk during her interview because I had tied one off with a couple other people that you'll also hear on here. Maybe. I don't know. I actually haven't gone back to listen to the interview.
So we'll find out later if he was drunk enough.
Well, you remember some of the previous conventions I would participate in some drunk interviews for fun.
No, I wouldn't remember anything like that.
So this one I did something similar. It was really fun. I did get contacted by one of the people who were like, "Hey, don't tag me in that post, please." And I'm like, "Yeah, you got it, buddy. Won't tag you at all. Won't use real names. It's fine." I believe we talked about the fuckability of John Hamm for a good long while. But you'll hear that later with some of the con attendees where we were having fun. But yeah, other than that, just a great time. Thank you for everyone who interviewed with me. It was great to have you on and to contribute time to this, to this podcast. If you enjoy this episode, I know we got a lot of new listeners, but if you enjoy this episode, check out some of our previous convention episodes. If you want to
upcoming ones.
If you want to help out the podcast, you can give us a review on iTunes. Maybe, subscribe to us on iTunes while you're there. Give us one of those 5-star reviews and we'll read it on the air word for word. That is my guarantee. And I would love to read more of those weird, reviews. We haven't got one in a while, and I would love to read more of them. So if you have anything you want to promote or something silly you want me to say, I will definitely do that.
Write it in a foreign language. That would be really fun.
That would be fun.
Yeah, that way I can, we can use Google Translate and see what pops out.
No, dude, that would be great. Write it in the foreign language where the translation is the most awkward or most hilarious version of that sentence ever. Where it's
definitely Chinese.
I
or
am
Mandarin.
Thankful for review of
a language where the syntax is completely different.
Russian would be fun.
Well, then I'm just going to read in my Russian accent. But yeah, check out our Instagram as well. I got a lot of cool pics with a bunch of the congoers there. That's at UGO Podcast. Mm-hmm. Also up on Twitter are a bunch of those pictures at UGO Podcast as well. And with that, I think that's all the stuff, all the regular preamble that I wanted to get out of the way.
It was quite an amble, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, these con episodes got to go through the regular rigmarole. How could I forgot? I met Crispin Freeman.
Really?
Yeah, I did.
Wait, who?
Crispin Freeman, famous voice actor for a bunch of anime as well as cartoon series we liked. You remember Roy?
Wait. Which one?
Crispin Freeman?
No, about the show you were saying. Sorry.
Oh, Young Justice.
Okay.
Is what we recognize him most from. Mm-hmm. He's been in a bunch of other stuff, but that's where I recognize him because he played all the Roys in that one.
Yes. Every single one.
Every Roy, yeah.
There was more than one Roy?
Yes, oh yeah, there's a bunch of Roys. Oh yeah, there's a bunch of it's like a big clone thing. Yeah, it's hard to explain.
It's been a long time since I've seen Young Justice, so
yeah, there's Red Arrow, Arsenal, Guardian, but
oh, okay, I see now. He's pretty prolific voice actor. I look at a bunch of his credits, so.
Mm-hmm. I met him when I was talking with our other friend Trevor Mueller at his booth, and he just stopped by the booth to talk to Trevor, and then we got to talking about video editing. And about cameras, and it was just a good time. One note, man, that guy is frustratingly handsome. Well, I already knew that going in, but then immediately coming in, I'm like, man, he is good looking. He sounds great. His voice is awesome. He is smart. He's very intellectual, and he is very nice. So I was just like, man, fuck you, you good looking, pleasant to be around son of a bitch.
Why does God love you? Jeez.
Why has God gifted you with these things? But no, seriously, he was actually really, really nice. So that was a really fun experience for me. Yeah, other than that, you can hear about all the other good stuff with all the interviews. With that was my weekend. How's everybody else doing? How did everybody else go?
Well, my weekend, while you were at Anime Milwaukee, I worked because I wasn't informed that we were going until like a week before.
Well, this one we didn't have any panels to run. I didn't like. It's one of those ones where I'm like, well, I wasn't even sure I was going to go until the last minute. Justin, how about you? How was your week like?
Whew. So, this week I finally got my thesis experiment started. So, super excited about that.
Cool.
Yeah, that's been overloading my brain lately, so I may not seem fully coherent in some sentences, but yeah, I've been doing that. I've been running around. I've been taking over the Breakfast Pub for the last couple weeks, which, Nick, you've been a guest on. Thank you very much again for that.
I have been. That's always been fun. I always enjoy being on another podcast because it's a lot less work for me to just sit back and just make snarky comments.
Just harass people?
Yeah, and just harass the actual host. A lot less work than actually like setting up stuff and, trying to work the board myself. So I like it. It's a very fun vacation from the regular hosting duties I have. So thank you.
Funny enough, it's a vacation for me too, because it's the least stressful thing I have to do during the week. So I'm like, oh, talk about entertainment news with guys I really like talking to? Sure, I can do that. But yeah, I have a lot of fun. So I did that. We have another episode coming up this week we're really excited about. And then, just today, I mentioned about this before the recording. I did a recording for one of our classmates, Caitlin, who was the sound engineer at our studio last week for Breakfast Pub, and she is doing a redub of the Justice League Comic-Con trailer, the one that came out last year, and she has to redo the score and all the sound effects and all the voice acting. So she got a bunch of the students in the voice acting class to come in and redub some of the dialogue for certain characters. So I read for Aquaman. I did his lines there, so I did the "all right," stuff like that. Or
I thought you were going to go more the Brave and the Bold version. Outrageous!
No, we had to do it as close enough to the original version as possible. But we did that. I read for Steppenwolf, funny enough too, which they can just do a lot of editing there. And then I also read for Cyborg.
That's exciting.
Yeah, that was fun. So, I mean, you have to do it as flat as humanly possible to read Cyborg. But,
inhumanly possible.
Indeed. But that was a lot of fun. So that's been the highlights of my last week or so.
Great. Well, with that, should we just jump right in? We got a lot of interviews to get to. So before we can do that, we got to do the geek news of the week. And there's only one way I know how to do that, and that's to go to This Just In with Justin.
Okie dokie. Here I am again, once again, with the news on the microphone. I don't know. That somehow developed into a rap, and I didn't even intend to.
I thought you were practicing your new persona, which is DJ Justin. DJ Jay-Z.
I think there's going to be a copyright issue with that one. But
I don't see it being a problem. I would go with it. I would rock with it. Jay-Z, what we got on the for spinning on the discs for today?
Whoa, news stories. Okay. I'm just bad. So The Last Jedi is coming on a home release soon. For people who want to watch it again, be my guest. You'll be better off than I am with that. But there are going to be...
You got a serious chip on your shoulder when it comes to Last Jedi.
I was just super disappointed. I mean, it's fine. It's a perfectly okay movie, but the fact that everyone is so adamant about how wrong you are if you don't like this movie, that really irks me. I'm like, okay, J.J. Abrams, I'm sorry that you also sided the group and say like, well, people were just threatened by the presence of women in the movie. And I get it. He wasn't trying to be explicitly saying that fans didn't like it because there were women in there. But the implication is pretty stupid to insinuate anyways. But aside from that, the home release will have 14 deleted scenes on it. So, hey, more Last Jedi for your buck there.
There you go.
Yeah.
Cool. I wonder, like, all those scenes, like, if they have the rendering complete on them, like, since it's such a lot of some of that is probably CGI heavy.
Yeah, I'm assuming. So then Jon Favreau will also have a cameo in the new Solo movie. So, hey, it seems like all their close, like, comedy friends come in, because Paul Bettany's in this, Clint Howard, of course, will have a cameo, because it's freaking Ron Howard, he can't make a movie without him. So, yeah, all those kind of people. Why not? Black Panther dominated the box office this weekend. So, oh yeah. Yeah, it's the 5th highest domestic weekend release ever. Second highest opening weekend for a Marvel film, just behind Avengers 1. The highest 4-day gross movie ever, beating Deadpool. Highest Monday gross, beating Last Jedi. Highest pre-summer Tuesday opening, beating Beauty and the Beast from last year. And then the highest Tuesday for a Marvel movie, beating out Avengers. So it is raking in some cash.
You could build a actual Wakanda with that type of money.
Yeah.
You could buy some vibranium with that money.
God, get a claw hand or whatnot.
With a giant laser gun built in.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So, some fun facts. The opening of Black Panther was actually a later addition into the movie because test screening audiences were like, it's still really good, but for people who haven't seen Marvel films, it kind of just throws you into the midst of it just to expect everything makes sense. So they had to add in that animated intro last minute, apparently.
Oh, I see.
Which makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then that mid-credit scene in the movie, the first one where he goes to UN, is actually the original ending. They added that other ending too, based on feedback. So.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
Well, that actually makes more sense. Like that actually brings a nice button into it when you consider that they were both kind of added in. Like that brings it to a nice kind of full circle with that whole ending in Oakland sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that made more sense. Like, I mean, it would be very grandiose to have the UN ending, but it felt more personal the way they did it with the kid. So
yeah, I kind of like that.
And see, this is a kid ending that works, Last Jedi, so there you go.
Jeez, you're really stuck on that.
Let it go, man.
I know. It's just fun to say nowadays. Martin Freeman is also still contracted for one more Marvel movie, but we don't know what exactly. So, all right.
Well, he'll be really useful during Infinity War. Or not.
Oh, yeah. So they're gonna do an animated TV series on Disney Channel, on the various Disney channels of Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur.
Oh,
Holy
what now?
shit,
What?
Devil Dinosaur?
Yeah, I don't know anything about this comic. It looks bizarre, but apparently people really like it. So
yeah, that's a real out of nowhere, like left field comic deep cut of like Devil Dinosaur. But yeah, that's exactly what I expect from Disney to mine some of these lesser known characters to throw on for their animated universe. Interesting.
yeah, so I'm curious how that will develop. Going through my notes here. Yes. So looks like Batgirl's having a little bit of trouble because Joss Whedon dropped out of the director's seat. So,
oh no.
Yeah, that's not looking too good. Apparently, roughly from what it looks like Joss Whedon said, he's like, look, we spent so much time talking about this that ultimately I just didn't have any stories. I didn't have anything to say with this movie. So, bye.
What?
That sounds like a cop-out answer for something he doesn't want to talk about or can't talk about.
I'm sure that's actually what it is. I mean, maybe that makes sense. Maybe that is a thing where like clearly they just have no structure or goals with this. They're just like, okay, make a Batgirl movie. About what?
I mean,
Batgirl.
I don't mean to speculate, but Joss Whedon saying, I don't really have any more stories. That doesn't seem
not
right.
Any more stories? He just didn't have a story for that movie, it seems like. So.
Okay. I mean, that seems weird.
It is weird. I mean, and again, don't totally quote me on this. This is just my interpretation of what I saw from the article, but it's just sad that they're losing more directors on these movies. DC just doesn't know what to do. I mean, other than Wonder Woman, where Patty Jenkins apparently just is confident and in charge of that stuff, they don't know what to do with any of the other films.
Their problem is one on a producer level, I think, and or upper management is that
it's totally money men are the problem here.
Yeah. And that's why it seeps into every movie. That's why it seems like they can't almost get one out clean. Is that it's a problem from the top down, so it's really hard to fix that.
No, it's WB itself that's the problem.
Yeah,
there's no
really
Kevin
is.
Feige over there like pushing back against producers to like, no, this is the way we got to do it.
They keep trying to prop up Jeff Johns as the big creative head, but apparently he only has so much influence.
Oh, he's just another fucking yes man. I don't believe he actually has any power.
I mean, having said that, he kind of saved DC at some points. So, but
sure,
anyway.
DC the actual company, sure, but Warner Brothers, like, does he have any pull with Warner Brothers? I don't think so.
Maybe. So also that Todd Phillips Joker movie is set to start filming in May. If you can believe anything coming out of DC anymore. But,
I'll
that'll
put
be
when I see it.
interesting.
I mean, I
Yeah.
guess like this is another one they've been talking about for a while. Like I believe that this one and Gotham City Sirens is going to happen because they keep talking about it so much.
Yeah.
That would almost
Well, and they still say Flashpoint's going to happen too, and Wonder Woman 2, at least.
like well, those ones are definitely like in production, but like the other ones that are like I mean, if they don't do a Gotham City Sirens after all the much talk of how they're doing it and all like it's been in the rumor mill for like a year and a half now, like they would actually look pretty dumb to not be able to do it.
Yeah, that would be kind of odd. So Jesse Quick and Jake Garrick will return for Flash season 4. You know, it's kind of expected.
Cool. Have you been watching Flash or any of the CW shows?
No, I am way behind on this stuff. Like, I only know about this because of the notes for the Breakfast Pod. So,
yeah, it's, I mean, I hate Arrow even more than usual now, and Flash is okay. I was actually really digging season 4, and then this later half of the season is like Flash in prison, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm rocking with this. That
wait,
much.
again?
Yeah, he's in prison, like where he just got out. Like he was in prison for a couple episodes, and like in actual prison because it's like, well, I can't run out of here and be Flash because that would be unethical. I'm like, shut the fuck up, Barry. Shut up, like.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing there. But also, Jonah Hex will be back this season for Legends of Tomorrow.
Cool.
Apparently people like that guy on that show.
He's a good addition. I even liked him on when Legends of Tomorrow wasn't good.
John Noble is also returning to Legends of Tomorrow. John Noble, would you know from Fringe and Lord of the Rings, but he's not playing the same character. Before, I believe he was just a voice performance in Legends of Tomorrow, but he'll be coming back as a different person in this season.
Cool.
Yeah. More people have joined Titans. They officially cast someone to play Elastigirl on the TV show. And then another person who will play Robot Man from the Doom Patrol.
Robot Man.
Yeah, I that sounds crazy. But, and then, I misreported it last week that I thought it was on TNT, but this will be a show on the DC streaming network.
Okay.
Apparently. So.
All right. Well, give him played by, Michael Chiklis and give him another crack at a Thing role.
No, they cast some other pretty young white guy. So, just, they have to have that certain sex appeal with people.
Shocking.
Mm-hmm. Not to say Michael Chiklis is not a handsome man. They also unveiled the first look at Brainiac from Krypton, which, I mean, it's very much the image that we've seen in the comics and in Injustice 2. And it looks pretty good, actually. The idea is in this version of Krypton, Brainiac is much more ancient and evil. Like he's kind of the Galactus of the Krypton story, where he's like this thing that comes every so often to destroy, and now the Galactus has returned, but this time it's the Brainiac,
Mm-hmm.
It sounds interesting. I'm compelled by that. And, maybe Krypton will be good. We have nothing to prove either way or the other. It's just a big question mark at the moment.
I wouldn't hold my breath out for it.
No, I mean, I won't, but yeah, we'll see. James Bond 25 is being rewritten by Danny Boyle and John Hodge from Trainspotting. So that's fueling the rumor that was going around this week that Danny Boyle might be directing the movie instead of Christopher Nolan.
Interesting.
Yeah, because Christopher Nolan pretty much just said, I'm not doing it. Like, just in no questionable terms. He's just like, nope, I'm not doing it.
Yeah. That's a shame. I would have liked to see a Nolan directed Bond. That would have been pretty interesting.
Oh, sure, it would have been gorgeous and fun and completely devoid of emotion, just like most of his films.
Well, I mean, he is the man, the robot they taught how to film.
The robot who makes artful popcorn films.
But yeah, I thought that might be an interesting take on James Bond, who is always kind of a colder type character too. I mean, spy thriller, that sort of thing.
Yeah, but I guess maybe Danny Boyle would be a fresh injection because his style of filmmaking would be very unlike other Bond films that have come out lately.
Also true.
We'll see. Jurassic World 3 is already set for June 11th, 2021.
Man, they're really counting those chickens, aren't they?
Oh, boy.
They really are, yeah. I guess, okay, Jurassic World 2 is not inspiring a lot of confidence, but it's J.A. Bayona, who's a director I love, and hasn't made a bad movie yet, so maybe there's some surprises in store?
If they manage to make...
First time for everything, guys.
If they manage to make this the Fast and the Furious franchise with dinosaurs, I will totally be like, if it's just big, dumb, and like unbelievable, but like super fun, I'll kind of be into it.
I mean, it is Universal, so it's the same company.
Mm-hmm.
At the moment, from what I've seen from the trailers, I'm not buying that one either.
The second trailer was a little better, I will say.
You mean with the tooth fairy dinosaur?
Still better than that first trailer. And apparently, from what I heard, the trailers are only really the first third of the movie. Like, there's still a whole lot they haven't shown at all.
Well, that's good at least.
Oh, geez, really? Because like the whole the island blowing up, I thought would have been like the end. Like that would be the end.
Yeah,
of it.
no. That is the opening of the movie.
Wow. Okay.
So let me guess, they take the dinosaurs to LA for the second half.
Well, I'm sure like they
that's what it sounds like.
They show like a big underground facility, so I'm assuming they must take the dinosaurs off to someplace else.
Yeah, it's just Jurassic Park 2.
So then going from there, it looks like Jessica Chastain is already officially now in talks to join It Chapter 2. That doesn't mean she's actually going to be in it, but I mean, she's worked with, what's the guy's name? Muschietti before, so it's very likely she's going to get cast in this movie.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That'd be great.
Beverly.
I've really enjoyed her in a lot of her stuff, so I would love for her to take a crack at what's her name in it? She'd
Beverly.
Yes,
the girl.
The girl. Yeah. The only girl in it.
You know, people were saying like it's either going to be her or Amy Adams, and at least hey, both are good options. So I'm not bothered either way. Going through here, there's a few other stories. Like they showed a photo of all three Shafts for the new Son of Shaft movie. And it's kind of awesome to see all of them in the classic Shaft outfit, but you know, obviously with Richard Roundtree looking so freaking old.
I did get a look at that. That was pretty cool watching them all walk down the street together.
I'm kind of weirdly excited. I mean, I'm not fully excited because it's freaking Tim Story directing, who's awful, but
remind me of some of the stuff he's made again.
Both the Fantastic Four movies.
Ooh.
Yeah, like the barbershop movies.
You didn't have to continue. Like the first one was.
I can continue. I just won't now.
Yeah, never mind.
Okay. Yeah, that's one of the things. Like, I'm just interested in just a purely like I just want to see all three Shafts in one film level. Mm-hmm. Apparently, Paul King is also now in discussions to direct Disney's Pinocchio movie, their live action film.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the guy behind Paddington. So, I mean, as much as we don't need another remake of anything these days, Pinocchio feels like it's more in his wheelhouse than Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's been a while since we've had a Pinocchio film. Like, so.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that'd be kind of cool, actually. Just that very innocent level of Paddington, but for Pinocchio.
Mm-hmm. You know, the small boy who whores himself out to become a real boy. Yeah.
Maybe the reason is that Johnny Depp hasn't played an awful version of Pinocchio that I like am not like I'm like, oh yeah, fine, go ahead and remake it. Like I don't
know. There was that terrible Jonathan Taylor Thomas version from the 90s.
Shit, yeah. I totally forgot about that one.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, with the Home Improvement kid.
Yeah. Oh man. Going from there, this one just kind of made me laugh. So apparently they're still trying to get Bill and Ted 3 made, which is called Bill and Ted Face the Music. And there was recently a posting up where William Sadler, the guy who played Death in Bill and Ted Bogus Journey, said, yeah, if you guys get this made, I will come back. I will play Death. I will do whatever you want me to do.
Yeah. So, right.
It's controversial opinion. I really did not like Bogus Journey at all, but Death did have some of the funniest parts in the whole movie. So sure, I would totally see that. There's a lot of stuff. Sonic the Hedgehog movie is coming out in 2019. They've set it for November 15th.
Sure.
Okay.
Finally gonna break that mold on the first great video game movie with, of course, the greatest story and, universe that has ever been created in video games, Sonic the motherfucking Hedgehog.
When was the last even good Sonic the Hedgehog game?
That recent one that wasn't the one made by Sega.
Oh.
I forget. There's,
is it Sonic Forces or what's the other? There's two of them, right?
There was one good cartoon. It was like, what was it, Sonic Adventures or?
To TV shows. Yeah, I can't even remember.
Where it was like post-apocalyptic, where Robotnik had actually taken over or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it was rad. Like the Sonic led the resistance against the Robotnik and fucking had to fight off like his encroaching like industrial complex. It was very good. I liked it.
I just remember the one where you turn into a were-hedgehog, like one game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was the thing.
All the gimmicks they try to do with that freaking game. So fans have, or at least based on this one poll here, they voted that Beyond the Wall is the single worst moment of season 7 of Game of Thrones. And they're right. That episode kind of sucked.
Which one? Oh, yeah,
They're trying to get the battle on the lake. That one. Yeah, that was pretty lame.
It was the most contrived moment. Like it was when seeing this one, you could feel in the writing room of just like, well, this happens and then this happens, and we kind of need to get from A to B, sort of. Like it's the most.
But we can't kill anybody. We can only kill the most expendable character, but nobody else.
I will grant it is the most rote, scene from Game of Thrones. I feel like there's got to be like a worse one, because even I don't hate that. I don't even hate that episode. I think I feel it is the weakest.
I think the only other moment that made me feel like it was bad was that fight with the Sand Snakes in season 4. But this was pretty much on that level of really underwhelming.
Yeah,
it does set it up to be a much more epic moment than it actually is.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's why people are so upset with it. But on that note too, Macy Williams apparently does claim that multiple endings thing about Game of Thrones season 8 is bullcrap.
Okay,
but we don't know. There's so many different things being said, but at least that's her opinion. Just dude, you know how expensive it would be to film multiple endings for this giant freaking show?
Do you know how much money they make?
Yeah, well, I mean, on the one level, yeah, it would be super expensive. I'm not sure if HBO, they would be able to sell some of that on the DVD and stuff, alternate endings though, so that'd be kind of neat.
Yeah, I don't take what she says to actually be totally true, but it leads to some speculation. It's okay, on the one hand, I can see why there wouldn't be, but on the other hand, like you said, I still want to see it. I would buy the disc if they had multiple endings.
Right.
Goddamn right I would.
Dude, watch along for every single fucking one.
They just did new casting for The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, which I'm kind of curious about. This is the new
the Riverdale
Sabrina
series?
Yeah, so it's tied to Riverdale, but this is through Netflix, actually.
Really?
It's being produced by them.
Oh.
And yeah, but it's still in the same kind of general vibe of that universe. But Lucy Davis, who played Etta Candy on Wonder Woman, and then Miranda Otto, who was Éowyn on Lord of the Rings, have just been cast as Hilda and Zelda, the two aunts of Sabrina.
Oh, that's nice. Actually, that's pretty good casting for older, kind of mother figures. That's pretty.
Yeah. Both of them I like. I mean, Miranda Otto hasn't been in a lot lately. She was in Homeland, I think, last. Homeland and 24 Legacy.
I shouldn't say older. I think that they're probably middle aged, but in Hollywood terms, that means they're 40. Ancient.
Yeah,
yeah, they're 40s. that kind of age. I think, and I think that was kind of the age the original ants were in the original TV show, right? Kind of that 40s turning 50 kind of thing.
Something like that.
Yeah, it was definitely all I remember is Melissa Joe Hart from that show specifically.
Yeah.
And look at how her career blossomed after that show.
What's she on now? Some sort of sitcom, right?
My sister watches it. Melissa and Joey, whatever it's called.
That's where you've hit rock bottom, is where you hit a sitcom where they use your own name, so you don't have to even work that hard. Everybody loves Raymond.
Everyone hates Chris. But the Santa Clarita Diet just got renewed for season 2, which is actually it's been renewed. It's going to premiere March 23rd, right before my birthday. And Joel McHale and Maggie Lawson from Psych are going to guest star as a rival married couple against the main characters.
Yay.
So that's kind of fun.
I actually like the Santa Clarita Diet.
Yeah, I haven't actually seen it yet. I've heard good stuff about it.
No, it's fun. It's fun to see Timothy Oliphant in a role that's not all just swagger.
It's not Raylan, not the guy from Deadwood. That stuff.
It's actually a different role for him, which is just interesting to see.
Yep. Disney is tossing around yet another Muppets reboot for the Disney streaming service.
Really?
Still very early in talks, but and we keep saying neat, but remember how much backlash there was against the TV show that just came out?
Yeah.
Yeah, people really hated the Office style one of where they put on a show, but it was more like a late night talk show with Miss Piggy.
I mean, I get it. It's not the Muppet Show like people wanted, kind of thing. It doesn't mean that show was bad. I think it's just, it was the problem. It's kind of that Star Wars problem again. Just it's unmet expectations from a rabid fan base, Where we wanted this thing, but you gave us an adult Muppets. We don't want that. We want the 70s Muppets, but I don't think they actually do want that either. They don't know what they want.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah. But hey, everyone loves the Muppets, so I want to see what happens there. And then, a lot of casting news, some big profile people and big roles. But the last one I want to talk about is one I just saw right before we started. And apparently, I don't know how true this is, but just the thought of it makes me laugh. There's a movie in development about flaming hot Cheetos.
What?
I'm sorry, what?
Yes, that is a thing based on Slash Films article that I just read here that says there's a story behind the creation of the Flaming Hot Cheetos.
Are you sure
that's
it's not
being
an
developed into a
autobiography
movie.
with the Red Hot Chili Peppers and they just misunderstood?
Yeah, is this some sort of weird cover band name? Like, what is...
No, there is a story behind how those Cheetos got made, the origins of the recipe, and that is getting adapted into a big screen movie.
Why?
Wow, okay. Alongside the trilogy of, like, how they really make Mountain Dew Code Red. What? That is crazy.
Yeah, that is definitely the way I put it.
What convoluted, what crazy thing must have happened during the creation of this snack food, this gross junk food, that would make it worthy of being told in a movie form?
I don't know, but this article tries to compare it to everyone made fun of The Social Network before it actually came out as the Facebook movie.
The Social Network is a fucking movement. It's something we use all day in our whole lives. And
also the writer is Lewis Collick, who wrote October Sky, that great film from the early 2000s.
Oh, I love that film. Yeah.
So, there you go. You perked up a little bit there.
Sure. It's like October Sky, but with flaming Cheetos instead of rockets. What?
Actually, that would be an interesting outtake at least.
The way you just pitched that, I want to see it now. I just want to see that. That's all I got.
All right,
Everything
kid,
else
what do you
is
got? What do you got? It's got October Sky, but we're gonna get the young kids in there, so it's gonna be also have Flaming Hot Cheetos and Mountain Dew.
Love it. Sell it.
Fund it.
Bought it.
Here's $100 million.
That's all I got for the news. That's
Leave it on a high note there, Justin. Love it.
No, I saw that. I'm like, I am saving this for the end. There's no way I'm not going to bring this up the last story.
Well, with that, I don't know if we can go out on a better note than that. We're going to take a small musical break. We'll be back with the interviews for our con episode at Anime Milwaukee right after this.
Chester Cheetah, rep Cheetos, 70 miles an hour he goes, tail like a rudder, tough as a mother, can't milk him, he got no udder. Song is fast, Cheetos are fast, this song is hot, Cheetos are hot. Cheetos, I'm like the lot. This song is fast, Cheetos are fast, this song is hot, Cheetos are hot.
This is Nick with the UGO podcast here at Anime Milwaukee, still getting some more interviews. I just had the pleasure of seeing some of the Ruby cast here at their panel of, what was it called again?
It was called Ask Ruby and the Residents of Remnant.
Yes, and we were allowed to ask the Ruby characters some questions. It was very fun. Puns galore. Let's go around and get some names and who you're cosplayed as.
My name is Natalie, but you can call me Natsa, and I was cosplaying Ruby Rose today.
Okay.
My name is Mel. I was cosplaying as Blake Belladonna today.
Cool. Are there cat ears behind the bow, or just the bow?
They wouldn't fit.
Okay, but I'm glad you thought of it. Okay. And how about...
My name is Iris. I'm cosplaying Weiss Schnee today.
Very cool. Love the scar. Great.
I'm Kathleen, and I'm Nora Valkyrie.
A little more energy from you, Nora.
I'm Kathleen, and I'm doing Nora Valkyrie.
That is way more like it. All right. How about you? Low energy.
I'm Joey. I'm Lyren.
Very good. We're in character. I'm loving it. How about over here?
My name is Cassie, and I'm Yang-tastic.
I'm loving this. You guys are very, very good. I can see why you guys run the panel. And?
I'm Jordan, and I'm cosplaying Raven Bronwyn.
And finally?
I'm Michael, and I'm Pierre Nikos.
From the dead, from the grave, coming at us. Love it. This is great. So, do you guys all know each other? All friends? You guys do this panel often? Have you guys just ran into each other the last 10 minutes and decided to run a podcast together? What happened?
I saw an Instagram post about it.
Me too.
Okay.
Facebook post.
Who was the organizer? Okay.
Yeah, I was the one who organized it. Blake, who is Mel, it was my co-host. Me, her, and Cassie all know each other in real life, so we all were the ones, who joined it first. And then I put a post on Instagram and on Facebook in a kind of for a Ruby group that's for the Midwest cosplayers, saying hey, I'm hosting a panel at Anime Milwaukee for Ruby, so if anyone's interested, hit me up. So I got some people that was interested on both Instagram and Facebook. So thankfully, they were nice enough that they wanted to join.
Fantastic. So have anyone done a panel like this before, or have any improv experience or anything like that? Yes? Go around? Yep.
My mother works at Second City, which is the largest improv facility I think in the world.
Great. So at least most of the people here kind of experienced with it. Great. I saw you guys field some questions. It was very good. What were some of your favorite questions of this panel in particular?
My favorite was the meme question because I got to go all out on it because that was my favorite meme of like ever. So having to get to go all out on it and reenact it basically was the greatest thing I've ever had to do.
Okay. Anyone else?
All of the ones asking about Yang. Love my daughter, love her.
It's very, very tense. I feel like the tension is actually audible. So I think even the listeners can hear it right now. What were some of the strangest questions that popped up?
The Jimmy Neutron crossover. Yeah. And I do apologize because that's actually my roommate, and he asks those questions most days.
Jimmy Neutron crossover.
He said, hey, is there ever going to be a Jimmy Neutron crossover? And if so, when's it going to happen? He has never seen Ruby, ever. He only came
you don't say.
To support me. And in the hotel room before we came, he took a towel and he whipped me with it.
Well, if you would like, I am personal friends with Carl Weiser. I think we can get him on here to ask maybe the Ruby people some questions.
That would make my day.
Oh, hey guys, what's going on? I'm a little bit nervous.
That was my favorite question.
Wow, you guys are hot. So, it's really nervous. I'm going to run away now. Oh, no, Carl, come back. Carl. He always does that. So, dreams do come true. All right, where was I? Oh, yeah. So, have you guys been enjoying Anime Milwaukee so far?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Any
favorite cons.
Any particular favorite thing that's happened to you today, or maybe the entire convention, or something you're looking forward to? Anything like that?
Autographs.
Autographs?
Yeah.
Who are you getting?
Christina V.
Christina V?
Yep.
Okay.
My 18+ panel that I'm having.
You're doing an 18+ panel?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what are we doing? It's
Free with Toby.
Oh, okay. I thought it was going to be adult puns, but...
Me to that. Please come.
Was it free what?
Free with Toby Swim Club.
The swim club, yeah. Oh, okay.
It's the Gay Boys After Dark.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You don't have to say gay swimmers. It's just swimmers, and then I can connect the dots.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Sorry for any swimmer listeners. You can't listen to podcasts while swimming anyway. What am I talking about? Yeah, you're right. Fuck those guys. Awful demographic.
Swimmers are assholes. I was on the swim team, I know.
So, is this you guys, anyone's first time cosplaying? First time? No, you're all seasoned cosplayers, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Not first time.
Not first time? Okay.
Not seasoned, though.
Okay, very cool. You guys see any other cool cosplays that really blew your socks off today, or?
I loved all the Salems.
Salems?
Yeah.
I saw some really good Salems now you mention it.
I saw one amazing one. Her wig was, perfect.
Mm-hmm. So how, now since I got a bunch of people here, how did you guys enjoy the latest seasons of Ruby?
I want to cry a little bit.
You cry?
I like that Nora hasn't died.
Yeah.
I like that characters are still alive. Yeah. That is a really interesting. Yeah.
I like that Weiss was almost there, and then they were like, we gotta bring it back.
So, I'm really happy John's finally useful. So that's great. Awesome.
I felt really bad turning him down. I love him so much. Like, yeah, I'll be your wife.
He let me keep the ring.
Wow.
Too bad it was meant for me.
I should probably mention we did have a Jean on our panel, but she had to leave for a meetup. But we had been but she's also a friend of mine. We had been planning this thing to do where she would go up to Weiss and sing a song and propose to her. She'd been rehearsing this all for the past couple of days, and she's like, I'm so nervous. I don't know if they'll freak out or not.
Bad, all I said was Snow White.
I love the fact that the John cosplayer was a girl, because I feel like cosplaying, gender bending a cosplay that was already a gender bent of Joan of Arc is a great inception of cosplays. I don't even know how attracted I should be to that, but I'm feeling like maybe 7, 7, solid 7. Yeah, that's about right. Anything else, maybe fun con stories from previous conventions, or anything else you guys want to share? I'm sure you guys seem like a fun crew.
Look like you've got a lot to say.
Yeah.
I got one, and that was from Anime Milwaukee the other year, where we got
our bread stolen. The stolen bread, the bread thief.
Wait, what?
We got our bread stolen from our hotel room, and we call it the bread thief. Yeah,
we
were starving.
Yeah, we like had come up from our hotel room like after the end, towards the end of the day of the con. We're all hungry, and we come up. There's no bread, so we're all pissed off as hell because we're all hungry. But after the next day of the con, we've actually eaten. We're all like laughing about it. So now we have an inside joke about a bread thief.
Have I interviewed anyone here before?
You probably interviewed her.
I swear to God, I've heard this exact story.
Did she tell you after, like, the, where Aladdin came around? And then, you interviewed our other friend who does panels as well, but... Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and someone blamed Aladdin for stealing the bread, and I was like, yeah, classic racism, blame the Middle Easterner. It was an awkward situation. So... That's great. One of these days, I'm going to find an interview like, man, this one time we stole this one group's bread. It was really funny. But until then...
Tell them I want to punch them because I was so hungry. I just wanted a sandwich.
They stole the Mexican mayonnaise as well with the bread.
What makes it Mexican? I was looking forward to trying that. Now I'm still pissed. It's been a year. I'm still pissed.
So there's Mexican mayonnaise? That's a Mexican version of the most Caucasian sauce ever.
No, the Mexican mayonnaise is where they have... it's like original mayonnaise, but they add lime and some things in there. So it tastes... Oh, it's amazing. I don't even know how to explain it, but it's amazing.
God, it's white people salsa. This is brilliant. This is a culinary discovery. This is amazing. I think we have to end the interview there on a high note. So with that, I'm going to go around. Anyone want to mention their Instagrams or Facebook or cosplay pages or anything? We're going to go around for everybody. What do you got?
All right, you can find me on Instagram at Tainted Dove Cosplay.
And?
My Instagram is at alias.cosplay.
And Weiss.
My Instagram is komida.exe.
Okay. Nora.
It's Kath Rosie, but I don't really post anything.
That's fine. Go and see some, blank space, I guess. Ren.
You can find live Ren stuff also on Nora's cosplay because she made mine. So, yeah.
Right. Yang.
My Instagram is mikahina002.
All right. No pun, but that's disappointing, but all right.
I'm on Facebook as JT Cosplay. I don't remember the name because I barely use it.
And Pyrrha, how about you?
You can find me on pretty much any social media at Slytherin Pirate.
Okay, a lot of pics from inside a coffin, I'm assuming, lately. But thank you guys so much. Have a great day and a great rest of your con.
All I have to say is that Carl Weezer impression was spot on.
Well, thanks a lot. I work really hard on it. This is Nick with the UGO Podcast, getting some more art interviews here at Anime Milwaukee, and I am here with...
Shanna Huseman. I'm with Shanna Marie Illustrations.
Now, what was it, Shannon?
Shanna.
Yeah. Okay.
Shanna.
Like Anna. Oh, okay. But not what's that new sci-fi series, the Shannara Chronicles? No.
I have no idea.
You're the spin-off. That's not you're the spin-off of the sci-fi series. You're not in a good spot. But, all right. But, Shanna, I stopped to talk to you because I absolutely loved some of your art here on display. It's very cute. I'm a sucker for some Steven Universe, and I'm staring that directly in the face right now. It's beckoning me. I love it. You also have these interesting... I want to ask you about these interesting sin posts here. I see sloth, gluttony...
Missing envy. That one sold out. But,
okay.
Yeah.
What are those? Are those from a particular series, or is that just your interpretation of those sins?
Those are my own interpretations of them. That was actually a project a couple years ago when I was in college, and the idea was I kind of wanted to make them almost like a family and for a book cover series. That was my goal.
The Sin Family.
The Sin Family. They're quite a bunch.
The Modern Sin Family, coming this summer on ABC.
If you pay me, I'll do it.
That's fantastic. Very interesting. I also see, of course, some Sailor Moon, some other standard cute stuff. What would you say is your most interesting thing to draw? What's your inspired to draw most of genre wise?
I love magical girls.
Magical girls?
Oh yeah, those are my favorite. I'm real inspired by those, by Japanese fashion, Lolita, all that kind of stuff.
Great.
Yeah.
Love it. So you're sharing a booth here with a friend of yours who also has a radically different art style. Really digging the yin and yang vibe over here. It's kind of like if Two-Face owned an art booth. I'm digging it. So I'm assuming this is not your first time at a convention.
No, this is probably my third year doing conventions, I think. It's hard
Cool.
to keep track.
We're on our third year as well.
Oh, cool. Congratulations.
I love it. So we're past our terrible twosomes of convention going.
First time in Milwaukee, though, so it's a brand new experience here for me.
How are you liking it?
And so far, it's going pretty good. So Friday had a slow start, but it's definitely picking up today, as Saturdays tend to do.
What's the thing that people have been most interested in, if you had to guess? This particular convention.
From my prints, you mean, and stuff?
Yeah.
I would say definitely the Sin set, and my stickers tend to sell pretty well.
That makes sense.
Honey Pop Charms, then they're just like, oh, we never see those. So once they notice them, those get pretty popular, but they're kind of small, so it's a little bit hard to see.
I expect a lot of people to relate to the Sin family down here. We're a bunch of heathens, so that makes a lot of sense to me.
Time coming up, and then just like, that's me. I was like, that's cool, do it.
That's what I relate to. So I know you're kind of parked here, but have you seen anything cool at this convention? Maybe a cosplay or two run around? Anything neat?
I love seeing the Monster Hunter cosplays. I saw a girl in the Kieran cosplay yesterday, and it was so good. I'm always amazed at people that can do armor, because I can't do that.
Yeah, so I'm going to leave it off here. I'm going to let you, because I can see other people staring at your booth. I don't want to take up any more of your time. But would you like to quick tell for the people on the podcast where they can look at some of your great, cool art here? Maybe a website or an Etsy page, anything like that?
Oh, yeah. I got everything. If you look me up on the web, I'm Shanna, like Anna, on almost everything. Twitter, Instagram, Shanna Marie Illustrations on Facebook. Like, Tumblr is also Shanna, like Anna. But if you type in either Shanna Marie Illustrations or Shanna, like Anna on Google, you'll find me just about on everything.
Fantastic. Well, I'm going to leave you with your magical girls and all that cute stuff. And you have a great rest of your day and a great rest of your con.
You too. Thank you very much.
This is Nick with the UGO podcast, getting some more interviews here at Anime Milwaukee, and I am excited to be here with the Attack on Titan cosplay crew that I found here. Who are you guys, and who are you cosplayed as?
My name is Alex. I go by they, them pronouns, and I am cosplaying Levi, because I'm edgy.
Because you're edgy? Okay, I see that. You have lip piercings.
I do, and I also
From what I learned from my mom in the 90s, that's very edgy, and I should not date you. But that's enough about me.
I'm Jordan. I'm playing Sasha. I love food about just as much.
Right.
Very food driven.
Suggestion for your cosplay? Was there a reason you're not carrying a potato around? Would they not let you?
I left it at home.
You left it at home? Okay, well, that's an idea for later. Or maybe a Mr. Potato Head that doesn't want to be eaten and is about to die horribly at your hands.
Yeah.
Also great.
I'm Anna, and I'm the better Levi of this group because I'm actually wearing the straps.
Okay, I'm going to remix the wearing the straps thing later. That's going to be for my personal use. Also, how about you?
I'm Addie, and I'm cosplaying Mikasa.
Okay, and?
My name's Shauna, and I'm cosplaying the wonderful Aaron Yeager.
Love it, fantastic.
I'm Brenna, and I'm cosplaying Armin.
Okay.
Yep, with the tail.
Whoa. If I think Armin would be a furry, like
honestly,
you think Fox? No.
I would say he would be a cat.
Well, he'd probably be whatever Aaron wanted him to be, since he's probably the dom. But so you guys, are you part of the cosplay group? Do you guys do this often? Anyway.
And them today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so this was happenstance. I love it.
Yeah, we just kind of met, and we were like, hey, how about we fake make out for a photo? And they were like, yeah, I'm down, let's do it. And so we did. And then we kind of held Aaron down, and we're just both tag team beating the shit out of him.
Yeah, pretty much. So this is my second con, and this is all of my friends' first con. So the better Levi, Mikasa, and Armin, this is their first con.
Wow, I'm going to totally destroy your experience. That's a lot of pressure. Don't tell me that. Don't tell me you're first timers. That's not cool.
I'm a second timer, so never heard anything.
It's basic.
For you, I'm a fifth timer.
Yeah,
I've been here for 2 years. She's.
Okay. You guys are the experienced ones. All right, so.
I didn't do it sooner because I kind of like want to be buried with my family, and my family would disown me. So like, there's that whole situation. But I mean, my mom tied my cravat, so like, she accepts it, I guess.
See, that's why I'm cremating my family after the fact.
My mom's a very elegant woman, and she said, I want to be buried in one of those, like, above-ground things. She's like, I'm not going where the worms go. I was like, Mom, you're forgetting we're poor. I was like, I can't afford one of those when you're dead. I was like,
I've been into an apartment in Green Bay. The worms go everywhere.
Yeah, I was like, you're not going to escape the worms, Mom. Like, bugs, if there is a crack, they're there. Decaying, eating your decaying body. I have no choice in it. I'm sorry.
Fantastic. Well, how is everybody enjoying Anime Milwaukee? Everybody feeling it?
Yes. I am I'm having a lot of fun. I forgot a lot of my stuff, but it's fine.
No,
it's fine.
You got the clothes on your back. And
I look good, so...
Levi needs nothing but more cleaning material.
Exactly.
Once saw a Levi cosplayer sustain a whole weekend on nothing but a Mr. Clean bottle.
Yes.
Fantastic.
I'm a bucket of dreams. That's all we need.
I'm also planning on doing Levi in a maid costume.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
I will support you.
That's... Yeah, well, I'm definitely gonna not Google image search that later.
Come up with some very interesting things. How do you know?
Safe search off. Is there anything you guys are looking forward to still at the con to see in?
There is the Nocturnal Underground Dance, which is kind of like the kid version of the rave that was last night, and I'm very excited for that.
Wow, okay. So nocturnal and underground. That's a very dark space to be dancing around. You know what? On the other hand, people will not be able to see how badly I dance.
Won't be able to see how badly I look either.
So, I think you all look absolutely lovely. How about anyone else? Anyone?
Very lovely too. You look very lovely.
Well, thank you. I've always people have always said I have a very pretty face that they would not like to kiss, but would like to be friends with.
Yeah, it's very friendly face.
I have a friendly face.
Yes.
So is anything else you guys looking forward to? Maybe meeting some of the guests here, anything like that?
I really want to buy some weeb shit. That'd be great.
Weeb shit? Okay.
Weeb shit's great.
Yeah, there's also an improv panel, and I'm hella excited for that.
They have a Hitalia one.
They also have a Hitalia panel, and just panels.
Anyone else?
There is an Attack on Titan meetup, which is going to be my first meetup that I'm in with like pictures and everything, so I'm excited for that.
We've missed every other thing that we've tried to get here on time, and then we set an alarm for 6 o'clock. We woke up at 7:40. The alarms didn't go off.
Not very Levi of you.
Yeah, I did not organize everything.
A cuddle puddle?
Yeah, okay, so there's 2 bedrooms in the hotel room, and so...
2 bedrooms. You mean 2 beds?
2 beds, yes. You know what? I'm illiterate. Okay, so there's two beds in the hotel room, and so me and the Mikasa were in one bed, and then when the other 2 woke up, they're just like, we're just gonna lay on you and just stay there and not let you get up, and yeah.
Okay, again, but slower. I am so sorry. That was awful and in bad taste, and defiling of the great, cutest name I've ever heard, Cuddle Puddle, which is fantastic. That is I'm going to use that now, and it's going to just like, guys, Cuddle Puddle, anybody?
Yeah. Oh my God, it was a very chaotic one. Yeah, I got all of these straps on. I got every single strap on and tightened, and the second I sat
Listeners,
down,
they are cuddle puddling as we speak. Or at least attempting to.
Someone grab my leg.
Cuddling is my kink.
Oh my God.
Can you hear the cuteness over the mic? Because it is adorable level max here.
Yeah. I got all the straps on, and I realized I needed to pee, so I had to take them all off.
Oh, I forgot about that. Tragic.
Use the bathroom before you put on AOT straps.
So, let me guys ask you, Attack on Titan Season 2 just came out recently. Or whatever season we're on. Theories. What do we think of the last season? What do we think about future seasons?
All the way through it.
I have not watched all of it, but this one has.
This one has. Well,
I watched half of it, but I read the manga.
Hey,
we are having a very heated argument whether or not a certain sniffy dude's name is pronounced Mike or Mike.
It is Mike. Thank you very much.
Mike.
It's Mike.
It's Mike. All right. Can we not start a fight again? We've already had several punches thrown.
I think this is worth getting into. Let's put it ringside. I'll sell tickets. It's going to be the most useless fight we've ever had. I will love...
Armin versus Aaron. I mean, who's going to win?
I'm on Aaron's side.
Smarts versus no smarts.
All right,
You guys have a suck dick.
thank you guys so much. It was lovely meeting you guys. Do you guys, before this interview devolves any further, do you guys want to mention any of your Instagram pages or cosplay pages, anything like that?
Yes, because I am a thirsty hoe.
We'll go around.
My
Insta.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tell
yourself.
Already doing that, honey. No, not. Oh God. Okay. My Instagram is smart.alex.cosplay. If you follow me, I follow you. So.
Okay.
Hit me up.
How about you, Sasha? No. Okay. She's fixing her hair right now. I think that takes priority. I understand.
I'm anabe.cosplay because I'm Anabe. I mean...
Anabe?
As in Annabeth Chase. That's what she calls me, and it's just kind of what I go for.
Oh, I thought it was more like you're my babe, but like anime babe. Like Anabe.
Like Annabeth is the name, but like Anabe.
Okay, well, when I say it, I'm going to be thinking my way. Just
I mean, you can. It's it's open for interpretation.
say it my way, you hear it your way. Okay,
Yeah,
how about how about over here?
Mine's Adriana.Hansen. It's pretty self-explanatory.
I love it. How about the Aaron?
It's pronounced Cunha Cosplay, but it's spelled CUNHA.cosplay.
Okay, and Armin.
I actually just changed my name on my Instagram too. It's How to Trash Cosplay. I don't actually have pictures of any of my cosplays yet because this is my first cosplay.
Well, in the future, maybe the listeners can see them. Well, thank you guys so much for dealing with me. I'm going to let you get back to your regular...
Honestly. I don't all assholes who just interrupt.
Honestly. We had a fight and a cuddle puddle within about 30 seconds.
Yes, but did you hear what happened while we were fighting?
No.
Aaron had said that...
I learned how to kick from Levi.
Yeah, and I said the only skill you learn from Levi is how to suck dick.
Wow.
I mean, we don't need to disclose what happens behind closed doors.
Yeah,
Armin.
exactly. See, this is why we couldn't date each other.
Oh my God, it's like we're the same person. You know me so well.
All right, cut the intro music there. I don't think it's going to get any better than that. This is Nick with the UGO podcast, getting some more interviews at Anime Milwaukee, and I was strolling down, taking just a stroll down the vendor hall here, and I got a little bit thirsty. It led me to the flask over here. I saw this lovely N7 flask that I just had to have from this great location, from this great vendor that I just met. What's your name, sir?
My name is Morgan Collin, and I'm the owner of the Detroit Leather Company.
Detroit Leather Company?
Yes.
That is fantastic. So I was immediately drawn to your flask work here, but that's not the only thing you're selling. I see some notebooks, some leather-bound notebooks here. I see some other... the wallets over there? Is this?
Actually, those are vial pouches and cable cases.
Oh, I see headphones in them. Oh, okay, that's clever. I bet headphones are tangled all the time.
Yep, it's a perfect way to keep all of your cables, headphones, and other things from keeping... it's like getting all messed up over in your wallet and whatnot.
You're detangling my cables, and you're providing me storage for my alcohol. You're a podcaster's dream.
We aim to please.
And you are doing so very well, sir. So, I'm assuming from this lovely corner table you have here, this is not your first convention, is it?
No, this is very much not. We've actually been, I've actually been vending for a long time, but even before all the leather craft, I've been doing all sorts of sewing and crafting. I've been sewing and crafting now since I was about 12, and now I've been doing the leather craft for about 12 years now.
Wow. And it is very worth it. I see some just lovely stuff here. There's a Hydra notebook that I really like over there. There's also a Deadpool flask, some really great geeky stuff here. So what's it taken to, the leather work for some of this stuff?
Well, it's rather interesting, actually, because we do everything literally start to finish. Most of the leather we have here is actually custom tanned for us by an Amish family in Ohio.
Really?
We get the full hides from them. We cut them over into shapes. We do our coloring, designs, and tool work. Everything's then wax sealed, formed, and assembled.
Wow.
So we literally do everything from start to finish, from moo to you.
Oh, no. And he has a pun to finish it off. A marketing genius.
That is our tagline, actually.
That is from Moody. Wow, that is great. I absolutely love that. This is some really great work you have here. What's been selling the most? So some of the other genre stuff that's been moving at this convention in particular.
Well, a lot of the things we've been selling here, like our books have been our mainstay for a long time now, and of course the flasks have been a recent addition for us, and they've been doing pretty well.
Sure. I can see. We need to write our fan fiction in something, so that makes sense. And we need the alcohol to fuel it. So I feel like those are going together. So how did you get into the selling a convention game? Were you attendee first and then kind of got into it?
Actually, it's a very interesting story, but a lot of it came down to I've actually been attending anime cons since about 1999. My first show was Anime Central over in Chicago, and I've just, slowly evolved from there. I went from being an attendee to like volunteer, staff, to eventually actually hosting my own event.
Really? You hosted your own event?
Yes, I do.
What was it?
Youmacon in Detroit.
Youmacon?
Yes.
You hosted Youmacon?
Yes, I do.
Oh my God, that's fantastic.
Yep, I'm the...
I was waiting for that one to get brought up.
Yes, actually, I'm the owner and founder of Youmacon.
Oh my God. See, Youmacon is one I've always wanted to visit, but I've never actually been able to get to yet.
Well, Youmacon's a really great show. We're currently, still in the top 10, anime cons in the U.S., and all I can say is it's highly recommended by the owner.
Every time I see my friends post about it on Facebook or something, when they go, I get super jelly. So that's fantastic. I'm assuming that takes even a whole lot of work.
It's literally a year-long, endeavor for us. We are working year-round, and some of our planning goes years in advance.
Damn. Oh.
And currently, it's even with, booking of venues, because currently we are booked all the way past 2025 for everything.
Really?
Yes.
Wow, that's really forward-thinking.
Yep, we have to always plan, years in advance for a lot of things. And it comes down to it. It's just literally a round-the-clock job.
Man, that sounds extensive. Well, you seem to have the meticulous nature not only for leather work, but for podcasts or for convention running. So that's great. So, being the founder of Youmacon, what's some special event that happened at Youmacon that was really special to you in particular?
Well, there's a lot of really cool events that we host in general that you won't find anywhere else. And I do mean anywhere. We are the first group to actually run our own version of... It's instead of most people do cosplay chess, we actually do cosplay shogi, which is Japanese chess, where we use the cosplayers in character as the pieces.
Wow!
And we're also home to other signature events, including live-action Mario Party, which is a full audience participation, and live-action Donkey Kong. Plus, we also have the distinction of actually being the event that hosted the very first maid cafe outside of Japan.
Really?
Yes.
Wow, and see, now I want to go even more. You're really selling me. You are a good marketer, my friend.
Thank you.
I tell you what, you are good at what you do. Well, I'm going to let you get back to your booth here and sell some of these fine wares. I don't want to keep you too long. Would you like to tell the people at home where they can find, the website here, or whether you're available online, where they can see these great products?
Yep, you can find all of our wares at DetroitLeather.com, and also look for Detroit Leather on Etsy. Now, as a note, you're going to have to look over there. It's you'll find different things at different places, because we have a lot of things over here that we make here that you don't see online, because we have a very bad habit of making it and selling it before we take pictures.
Oh, wow. Well, that sounds like a good problem to have. You just can't keep the shelves stocked. Well, I'm going to let you go and get back to selling some of that shelf stock there. Thank you so much for your time. Have a great rest of your convention. This is Nick getting some more interviews here at Anime Milwaukee. I am so excited to be here with one of my favorite Disney villains, Ursula the Sea Witch. How's it going?
Going wonderful.
I really love your voice. Have you stolen Ariel's voice already, or is this just your natural voice?
I have not stolen her voice yet. She's been, every time she sees me, she just runs away. I don't know why.
That is unfortunate. Well, I hope you get her later. I'm rooting for you.
Thank you.
So what's your actual name?
My name is Emma, and I go by Heartless Lynx.
Heartless Lynx? Is that your Instagram? Or?
That is my Instagram, and yeah.
So I absolutely love your cosplay. You got the tentacle dress thing going on, which is really cool. You let me touch it earlier, which was awesome. It's not the first time I've touched tentacles, but it was the first time it was consensual on my part. So that was very interesting for me. But enough about my weird sex life. I want to talk about this getup. So it's beanbag chair, beans in the tentacles, right?
Yes, the tentacles are filled with a combination of beanbag filler and then just your standard cotton stuffing that you would use for plushies or crochet projects.
That sounds cuddly and amazing. I also love the What's her, like, is it like a medallion that she wears, like this shell thing?
The shell medallion, which I actually had made for me by Omnizion Cosplay.
Oh, okay. So what's that made of?
That is actually a 3D printed component that they modeled and made for me and then painted.
Oh, okay. That's pretty intricate. It looks like it was worth it. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention the lovely earrings you have, which are the tentacle earrings.
Yes, those were an Etsy find really early on the journey for creating this costume. Ursula tentacle earrings, just had to do it.
Again, with my previous experience, I'd be uncomfortable having a tentacle near that close to one of my orifices. But I love the getup. I love the purple. You've painted your face and like your neck, but then you have the like nylon stocking on the outside. Did you have to custom order that in purple as well?
Actually, this is from, I think, My Colors or some other website of the like. You can get tights in pretty much any color, and then it's just a matter of matching your face paint to it.
Okay. Well, how are you enjoying Anime Milwaukee?
Anime Milwaukee's a great time. Love going every year.
You're going every year?
I've been going pretty consistently since 2013. I've taken breaks now and then to go to other cons, but Anime Milwaukee's my home con.
My good. Well, then, do you have any juicy stories for the podcast that you would love to share about any previous conventions? Any mishaps? Any fun drunk tales with Ursula the Sea Witch? I would love to hear them.
This is the first year of Ursula the Sea Witch at this particular convention. I can tell you on more than one occasion of just being in cosplay and hanging out with people and just getting up into general shenanigans.
Nothing more specific than that? You're not going to name names for me?
Naming names would probably end up with me on a list.
It's just you and me and like 100 listeners. It's fine.
Just 100?
Like,
really?
We're not very popular. It won't get around. Note to self, don't say true things on the podcast like that. I really enjoyed talking to you. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. I'm going to let you get back to the convention. It was a great speaking with you. Want to let people know where they can find your Instagram or anything else they want to look at your lovely cosplays from previous cosplays, maybe?
Yes. If you look up Heartless Links on Instagram, that is my main profile where I post cosplays, art stuff, my general thoughts and feelings on the world. I'm also part of a cosplay group called A-Team Cosplay, A-Team, like the TV show, and we are on there as well.
Man, I love it when a cosplay comes together. That's for sure. Well, have a great day and a great rest of your con. This is Nick with the UGO podcast, getting some more interviews here at Anime Milwaukee, and I am so excited to be here with the Mystery Science Theater team. I have not only Crow and Tom Servo, but I have, I actually have forgotten the new guy's name. Jonah, that's right. I always want to go Joel or someone else, but and a Kinga as well. Fantastic. What are you guys' names?
My name is James Flint.
And
I'm Chickadee.
I'm sorry, what?
Chickadee.
Chickadee?
Yes.
That is a lovely name. I absolutely love your puppet work here with Crow and Tom Servo. I can see that you guys have made this yourselves. Mm-hmm. This is fantastic. What are some of the materials you guys used?
Well, first of all, overall it's a kit that you can get offline, I believe, from, I want to say the mst3guy.com. I'll have to double-check that, or you can double-check that as well afterwards. But anyway, the kit's
a lot of work for me. I think I'm just going to take your word for it.
Okay. Either way, you can find kits online. And this guy, gosh, man, he gives you everything you need, save for the paint. Now, as far as the materials, it's a mix. It can be actual original pieces to molded from the original parts. Like, for example, Crow here, he's a mix of Tupperware, platters, the pin naturally for the head, got a hockey mask for the basket, and a soap dish for the eye socket. And it's just, it's crazy what Joel did for the original bots themselves. Mm-hmm. And, it takes a good month and a half to do Crow. It was a month here for Tom. And, they are basically the same kind of bots you would see on the show.
Okay. So, and I assume you guys make these together?
Well,
yes.
I made the bots,
and then you puppet,
and then I help puppet the bots.
You help puppet. Okay, so
I have the jokes.
I actually put. This is not going to work on an audio format, but I actually put the mic to Tom's mouth for a second, which made no sense whatsoever. But that's how good it is. I was shoot here. What's Tom made of? Because I see.
Tom
He's got the bubblegum dispenser on the top of the head. He's got baby doll hands.
Well, here's the thing. Bubblegum machine for the head. It's the shoulder pads are actually vacuum formed plastic off of Gypsy's eye from the show, the Flashlight.
Okay. Did you cannibalize Gypsy to make Tom?
No. Actually, you don't have to. It's a money-saving bank barrel, a basic, rubber Tupperware bowl. The little black pieces down here are actually vacuumed from little futuristic train cars, and the hands are from a Pansine Spencer's gift toy.
Okay.
And last but not least, you just have a basic motor engine for the front.
That is fantastic. So I'm assuming you guys are big fans of Mystery Science Theater, right?
Yeah, we saw them live. I've been watching it as a kid.
Last year. It was fantastic. They had the bots out, they had Jonah out. It was incredible. If they come again to Milwaukee, I highly recommend you going.
Was that the Watch Out for Snakes tour?
Yes. Watch Out for Snakes tour.
We caught it too. That was EGA, right?
Yeah.
I loved that show. I, of course, love the new ones. What's your favorite episode of The Return?
Of The Return?
Yeah.
It would have to be the Star Crash because my name's on it in the backer list at the very end.
Oh, really? So you're one of the OG founders. All right.
Yeah.
Great. That's fantastic. And yours?
Oh, gosh. I can't choose a favorite. That's extremely hard.
Remind us of what they were?
You know what? What was the one about the... crap, I don't know. It's the one about the Mexican village and then the dinosaur comes to terrorize them.
Oh, yeah.
What was that called?
The Horror of Howlin' Mountain.
Yes. That was amazing, especially since it's like supposed to be a monster movie, and the monster only shows in the last 20 minutes, which is just like my thing. It's just my jam, Just that sort of, that sort of ridiculousness is why I watch Mystery Science Theater.
I'm more of a Land of Time Forgot man, but I just love me some Doug McClure. So you guys are cosplayed as Jonah and Kinga. Are you guys married?
Working on it.
You're working. Okay. So I'm assuming that the cosplay was one of your ideas to pressure the other, like, thinking about it, right? No?
See,
you're not thinking...
Actually, it's me, because I'm Kinga, and I'm making you marry me. So that's what's going to happen, Jonah.
Yeah.
It's canon. It's canon to the series, so it's just happening.
I like the story a bit better. My lamer story, you can decide if you want to use this or not. For Halloween, I went as Servo and Jonah.
Okay.
Come Christmas, after, spending a month, sleeping with this guy, a certain someone here gifted Crow to me for Christmas.
He came in a box full of parts, and he said, "Oh, here we go again."
That sounds like a lovely and healthy relationship, which means I'm going to delete that part off from the podcast and use the former one.
Yeah.
Because I love a good story where toxicity is brought to a relationship via cosplay.
Naturally. You gotta love drama.
It happens more often than you think. How are you guys enjoying Anime Milwaukee?
Been loving it. This is day 2 for us. We've been staying at the Hilton the last few nights. I don't know, sweetie, what's been your favorite thing?
I've really enjoyed it. All the cosplays are amazing. I think we've stopped a billion times to take pictures. Like, we can't get anywhere. It's like, oh my god, I have to take a picture of this. Oh my god.
Any that immediately stick out in your mind?
Right, and then it's like, holy fuck, there's that character. And then, like, my husbando was here, and, it's just...
Right,
oh god, no. Okay, fine, all right. So, when I was, like, 13, which was, like, over a decade ago, dear god, my favorite...
Go all the way up until current time.
My favorite character was a very obscure character from Yu Yu Hakusho, the anime, named Jin the Windmaster. And I really liked the English version because he had the stupid, and I don't even know if you know who that is.
I watched Yu Yu Hakusho, and I don't know who that is.
Who the fuck is he? Well, it's because he appears in, like, all of 3 episodes in, like, the first tournament that they have. And
you sound like an interesting child.
I'm 27.
I said you sound like an interesting child back then.
Well, I guess I'm not an interesting child anymore because I'm not a child. Anyway.
Now you seem like an interesting adult.
Now great. That's awesome because I hate to be boring. So anyway, he appears in, like, all of 3 episodes. He's got, like, fire engine red hair and this, like, really sexy accent. And I was like, oh my god! And, like, to this day, and then I see somebody cosplaying this, and I'm just, like, melting into a little puddle over here, and I'm like, no, this is not how I wanted this to go. I'm 27, I need to stay composed. And then, like, he walks up to the guy, and he's like, hey, since you're basically her husbando, can you trade contact information? And I'm like, that is not how I wanted this to go. Thank you very much. You just humiliate me in front of my husbando.
But did you get those digits?
I did get those digits.
Oh, that's a
sweet digits. And the accent and everything. And it's just like, okay.
No, that's fantastic.
Turn beet red here and stuff. But yeah, so it's like there's no logical reason for it. But like when you see those characters that you just love and there's no good reason that you love them, then it's just amazing. Oh, and you're showing pictures now of the character. So
it's rattling around my brain, but I'm trying to remember.
Remember this guy possibly? I don't know. Did you watch like the dub or the sub? That might make a difference.
I watched the dub, so.
Yeah. Well,
he had the sexy accent in the dub, right?
Well, he actually kind of had like a different Japanese accent in the dub, which in the subtitle, the original, which is why they chose like an Irish accent in the English title, because they wanted to kind of carry over that feeling. There's an accent there, but they had to find some sort of equivalent for the English language, so they chose the Irish language.
Interesting.
Like, sort of like subset of it. Anyway, that's super nerdy, and only a small portion of your audience may even care about
this
that.
Is the podcast to get super nerdy and obscure on. We once went into like a 20-minute discussion on the slightly actual kind of progressive nature of Rosario plus Vampire. So this is definitely the place. I want to let you guys go. Enjoy the rest of the con. Is there any place where you would like to show your pictures and stuff online? Like, do you guys have an Instagram that people can check out?
No.
Facebook, nothing like that?
Well, I have
I have
a Facebook page. I
have an Instagram, but it's like brand new. Like I'm so off base. Like I got an Instagram basically last week, so I'm sorry. I'm still entering the digital age. Excuse me.
Sure.
But yeah, I've started the Instagram, so we might upload them there. This guy uploads it to his Facebook. Do you want to give out your Facebook?
Is it your own Facebook or is it a Facebook page?
It's my own Facebook.
Facebook
page.
Well, then maybe we'll just leave it off.
There's been a lot of pictures kind of floating around. I'm not sure if they took official pictures. I'll just post them to my Instagram. Gosh darn it. I'll just post it to my Instagram. Instagram is LRChickadee, CHICKADEE. And that's the Instagram. And I'll post the pictures on there. They'll probably be like the only things on there, but I'll put them up there for you guys.
Well,
Thank you so much.
Well, fantastic. Well, I'll let you get back to, I assume, getting some weird commentary on some strange, bad movies. But it was a pleasure meeting you. Other hand, I don't know. I got a mic and you got a puppet. I don't know how this is going to work. Have a great day, rest of your day. And have a great day and a great rest of your con. Yes, high five. Yeah, there it is. And puppet. This is Nick, late in the day here in Anime Milwaukee, and I am tired, but I have at least a couple more interviews in me right now, and I am here with the lovely
Ashley Erickson, a.k.a. Cloverkin.
Cloverkin. Now, I was at your booth a little while ago, and it was very intriguing to me because you had on the side there on a sign saying, "Pets in Armor."
Yes.
Would you like to explain a little bit of the concept of pets in armor?
Absolutely. So pet commissions tend to be a little bit popular. However, I put a spin on it where I translate pets' personalities into D&D and RPG classes that suit them. So not everybody ends up being a fighter. Say if you have a big fat cat, he might be more of a mage or a cleric or a bard. So I like to take those things into account when I'm actually about ready to do the portrait. And then, I hit back the pet owner, "Hey, is this unlike your pet?" And they're like, "Yeah, go for it." And I try to work in their toys as like trinkets or anything on their outfit, funny stories, quirks, loves, anything like that. So
I don't know, that sounds like a kind of lucrative market. Like, who would pay to have weird stuff with their pets? I mean, it's not like people pay exorbitant amounts of money to have costumes on there. You know what? No, wait a minute. No, your market's pretty safe. I'd say that's pretty good, I would say.
It ends up being really fun and really in my niche, too, because I end up doing medieval animals anyway. So I thought, why not, expand and get other people's pets in there and give them something that they can't find anywhere else.
All right, let's give you a live, example here. And I'll pitch you my pet and see what do you think he belongs.
Paw readings. I do them live at cons all the time. Let's go.
One more time, right in the mic.
Paw readings.
Fantastic. Listeners, I'm about to get my paw read, or my pet's paw read. Let's go. Okay, so I have a chocolate lab, and he was actually my dad's before he passed away.
All right.
And I sound like my dad, so he's always excited when I come home because he thinks that Dad came home. So I'm the only one he greets like he's still a puppy.
Yeah.
But otherwise, he's very kind of, he's curious, but he has a hard time listening to anyone.
Is he older?
He's older. He's like about maybe 4.
Okay.
So
Would you say he's passive-aggressive, passive, or aggressive?
He's actually very passive with others. Like he gets excited when he first meets them, but like in the 5 minutes, but then he'll kind of like ease out and mellow out and just kind of, put his head up and want to be pet. But for me, he's very excitable and aggressive.
Okay, but he doesn't attack.
No, he's not attacking at all.
Okay, so
he's
that
a sweetheart.
rules out fighter usually for me.
Okay.
In passive-aggressive would usually lean more towards a mage or something a little bit more dark or, have something on that edge where they're more of a magic user.
Mm-hmm.
Does he know when you're sad?
He does know when you're sad.
He does know when you're sad. Okay. Does he have anything he covets, loves, hates, anything like that?
Okay, well, he hates pillows. I probably because I hit him in the face with them all the time when we're doing the tug of war thing. What he likes, he loves frisbees.
Okay.
Only he doesn't like catching them. He loves tearing them up and eating them.
Okay.
Like they're very delicious, apparently.
So let's go back to the when you're sad thing. He knows when you're sad. So does he come to comfort you?
He lays on your lap no matter what you're sitting on. He'll try and lay on your lap despite him being like unbelievably large.
Okay, but he knows that you're sad when he does that, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So usually for that, I would say, and this is just a rough estimate, usually I go back and forth with the pet owner for a while and kind of dig deeper, but just surface, I would say he's a healer. He's more of a cleric, and he probably wouldn't have any weaponry. There's a very specific thing I look for when I get a paladin, but in this case, he sounds very much a healer, an excitable one, maybe... one that's happy doing something cute. Maybe he's got something that he likes that he's chasing after or something like that, but he'd have healing magic and be kind of more dressed like a cleric.
Oh, okay, so like the tunic sort of thing going on?
Sort of, yeah, more of a mage robe, something like that, but more light colors, make him look happy-go-lucky, very caring, comfortable, that sort of thing.
This is very in-depth. I see why.
I bought 200 of them.
I see why people pay you the big bucks for these.
Thank you so much.
Fantastic. What are some of the more interesting ones you've done, or some that stick out in your mind?
Yeah, absolutely. So in the past, I've gotten, like I said, I've done about 200 of these. I've gotten snakes, bearded dragons. The weirdest one I've probably done is a tegu. Do you know what a tegu is?
I actually don't. What's a tegu?
A tegu is, some of you have probably seen it on Facebook before, but it's this, there's one that's famous called MacGyver, and he usually gets fed with chopsticks on Facebook. But they're the size of like a baby or a small dog, and they're lizards. So they usually like eggs and such. So I had a picture of him, and he was very royal, very particular. He liked things a certain way. Yes, a lizard did. And he was pampered like crazy. So I had him on this giant hoard of eggs, and he was throwing one back into his mouth. So very pompous, very confident. And it was just crazy because somebody owned a tegu. And I've gotten people who own chickens. I had a guy who asked me about 14 goats. It's been crazy. This has opened my eyes to so many things. And not only that, but I get the most touching stories, too, about, like, after they've gotten their pet portrait. It sounds kind of trivial when I explain it to people, but knowing what I know and how many people I've affected, and they come crying to me the next year at a con, like, you don't know what it means to me, or the pet passes away. Sometimes I've had them pass away during my making it, so the time they buy it to the time they get it, the pet passes in there, and then I have to, like, send them the portrait knowing that the pet's gone.
Okay, I don't normally cry on these interviews, so you're gonna have to tone it back a little bit. That's a very sad story.
I know, but it's so moving. Like it sounds like such a simple thing, but the amount of gratitude I get from it, and the amount of satisfaction I personally get from doing these, especially since they fit into my realm of art anyway, is just immense.
Oh, okay, well, that's really cool. How did you get started? Like, did you do your own pet first, and then it kind of spiraled from there?
No. Well, what's funny is I realized later on that I did do my own pets. In the beginning, I had hamsters. Do we want to... Okay. So I had hamsters originally, and I made them into what I thought they'd be. And this is years later that I actually went back and I was like, oh my God, I had originally done these. But the first one I did that I was conscious of was I was doing commissions at C2E2, I think about 2 years ago. Actually, it's 3 years now. And people had asked for, they saw I did animals, so they're like, hey, would you do our dog dressed in, super Nordic armor? And I was like, yeah, I could do that. And they wanted, ancient Thor armor, not, Marvel Thor, and,
Sure.
So I was like, yeah, I can do that. And I did it for them, and they loved it. And they actually came here today.
Oh.
The third year in a row I've seen them, and I thank them every time because they started my business, technically. They gave me the spark of the idea, so every time I thank them so much. But that led me to think, well, maybe that dog would have actually been something else. Maybe his inner personality would have projected some sort of other armor, and then I started thinking, well, there are classes that denote a certain personality type. Berserkers, demolition, classes, stuff like that. And I was like, well, if I align and learn about these pets into the type of armor they would use, whether it's leather or metal or what have you, that could be really fun, and people could have a lot of fun with it. It's an experience I'm selling. I'm also selling, the actual original art. And then I compile it into a book later that people that may not have pets can also get a lot out of it because it's amusing, it's cute, So it's been a ride, and I don't plan to quit it anytime soon.
I hope you don't, because that sounds amazing. Thank you so much for interviewing me. It's been an absolute pleasure. Would you please tell the people at home where they can find you, your Facebook, Twitter, Etsy page, somewhere they can find this great art?
Absolutely. Under everything, I am Cloverkin. So basically, if you look on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Tumblr, I'm on Twitter. Twitter, it's Cloverkin Art. I'm also on Twitch, and I stream Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. If anybody has any questions about art or anything, we have a Discord that has a very supportive art community. We talk about art motivation, how we use the tools we use. We have people on there all the time who use watercolor, gouache, marker, all different kinds of mediums. So anything you're curious about, come ask us. We're happy to help.
All right. Well, I have to go and get my dog fitted for some robes, so I'm going to go do that. and listeners, get some armor for your dogs, all right, or your pets or cats or whatever. Thank you so much. Have a great day and a great rest of your con.
You too, Nick. Thanks so much.
This is Nick, still at Anime Milwaukee, getting a couple more interviews, believe it or not. Man, I am so tired. It's so late. I've been up for so long, but I had to talk to my friend, Alizarin Crimson. Did I get it?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I did get it. Say hi.
Hey!
So we've had you on before a couple times. You're a friend of the pod. I just wanted to check in with you and see how your Anime Milwaukee is doing. How are you this Anime Milwaukee?
I'm actually having a lot of fun. There's not very many conventions that I get the pleasure of just wandering around because I'm usually trying to work them or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, usually ASEN is my one that I'm like, and party, whatever. But it's been 4 years since I've been to Anime Milwaukee, and it was, I think, maybe 4,000 or 5,000 people there the last time I was here. And actually, not that anybody back home is going to see this, but the last time I was here, I vended, and it was somewhere along that wall over there.
That's okay. I'm pretty sure they could hear the gesticulating.
It was right by main programming, because that used to be the vendor hall. Ta-da! Anyway, but I've been having a lot of fun. I mean, it's been a lot of people, nice people, and all these amazing cosplays that are wandering around, and I just want to go and say hi to everybody and say that they do so great.
I love it. And since you are free from your booth for once, I'm sure you've got to see more and get to experience more. Anything that really stuck out in your mind that really tickled your fancy at this particular convention?
Honestly, I saw some pretty dice because my friend Dawn, Amethyst Dawn, as you know, we started a D&D thing, and it was the first time I ever played D&D. And this
really?
is back, I'm a nerd, but I wasn't that kind of nerd. So I'm like, I don't have any dice. I need to rectify that. So this was the first convention since January that I've been to. So I got 2 sets of dice.
Yes, and people will remember Amethyst Dawn. She killed me once with a wand. It was fun. But yeah, that's great. What do you play in D&D?
Well, the thing that we did was kind of like that amnesia, where it's kind of like by chance. We figure out what we are by roll of dice, and I ended up being a awkward female dwarf bard.
Mm-hmm.
So it actually kind of fits my personality, except for the dwarf part, because I'm not short, but I am very awkward. So, and I like to sing and dance, or not dance, but like to sing and do stuff. So,
all right, this next one's gonna be hard for you because you're a nice person. I can see in your eyes you got a good soul. But I'm very curious because you are a booth runner yourself, and you got a chance to just, I'm sure, just run around the vendor hall, see everybody. You don't have to name names. What were some rookie vendor mistakes you saw? What were some rookie ones like, these guys are new, they didn't do this?
Yes. Signage is one of them, I think. It wasn't clear, or it was on a little teeny tiny piece of paper. I know sometimes, people don't put the price on it because they want that customer interaction. I guess it's not really a rookie mistake either. It's just like clarity, and sometimes I saw that people had too much clutter. Sometimes like when you have way too much to look at, like people just like they're like, oh my god, this is just so much. I can't concentrate. It could just be me though too. Other than that, I don't know. I was just looking for stuff for my husband because he wanted Bloodborne stuff and Castlevania, so I was more like, and Bloodborne, Castlevania, nope. Bloodborne, Castlevania, nope. Okay, on to the next.
Again, and I'm thwarted from the good dirt that I wanted because I befriend nice people, but that's fine. I'm a little disappointed, but that's okay.
I'm sure now that I'm armed with this question, I could go tomorrow and be like all judging and salty, but this weekend I was like, and these are the focuses, everything gets blocked out.
I want a rip-roaring, unbelievably negative post from you tomorrow. That is your homework.
Internet commentary, etiquette, and done.
And then, of course, you participated in the cosplay contest. That was pretty cool. For those at home, what are you cosplayed as?
I am cosplayed as Professor Woodward from Little Witch Academia.
Very cool, very popular anime. So, how do you feel? Did you do, like, I know sometimes people have, like, music they run out to or little routines. What was your thing?
I was repeating to myself, don't die, don't trip, don't trip, don't trip, don't trip, don't trip. Like, I mean, although I've judged and I've done that kind of thing, I haven't actually competed since, I think, 2013.
Oh, it's been a while for you.
It's been a long time, so I'm like, you know what? To be a better judge, to be, like, better, for that, and give myself a little bit more validity, I decided, I'm like, well, I need to be in a competition. So, I'm still awkward as hell, fuck, whatever you want to say, on the stage, and I'm like, I'm an aqua turtle, I'm just going to be like, pose, and it feels like it's long enough, but it's probably been only like a second, so I'm going to walk, because I'm going to fall otherwise to the next spot.
So what was that experience like competing after so long of an absence then?
It's nerve-wracking like usual. I'm just always terrified. Like, even as a judge, I'm like, I don't know what to say, I'm going to be awkward, and like right now.
Well, I believe the music, we are about to be chased by some sort of indigenous people, judged by the music that's going on here.
Boots and pants and boots and pants and boots and pants and boots and pants.
So we are going to have to wrap it up here before we both die. Would you like to tell the people where they can find you and your lovely, vendor work and all that sort of good stuff online?
So far, the only convention that I will be actively vending at is going to be at KitsuneCon in July. I'm lame and I don't know what the dates are on hand. I think it's like the 14th through the 16th, don't quote me. So you can find me either with Crimson Star Emporium on Facebook or at Alizarin Asta, A-S-T-A, Crimson, on Instagram. And then my secondary business is It Starts From Nothing for both Facebook and Instagram.
Fantastic. A pleasure as always. Thank you so much. Have a great day and a great rest of your con. This is Nick wrapping it up here at Anime Milwaukee, but I still have enough energy for one more interview, I think, as long as it's with my man, Trevor. Trevor, say hi.
How you doing, buddy?
Trevor, this is like the third time you've been on, I think?
Something like that.
Something like that. We've had you on before because, my God, you're such a nice guy. And you just got a nice smile.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that.
Smile for me again. Can you hear that, listeners? I wanted to try it. I don't think it's going to translate, but who knows. So, I don't know if I've seen you at Anime Milwaukee before. I assume you've been here multiple years.
Yeah, I've been a guest at this show for about 8 of the 11 years that the con has existed.
8 years? Wow, that's great.
Yeah, it's usually the first convention that I do in a year, so it kind of sets the bar for my convention season.
Oh, okay.
I'm very close with a lot of the staff and the other guests that they bring in.
Sure.
And obviously,
I saw Crispin Freeman come say hi to you.
Yes, no. That's actually my first time ever talking to Crispin was last night. Like, he and I have done numerous cons together before that, but had never really had an opportunity to introduce myself and hang out with the man. So we were chatting last night, and he wanted to stop by the table and see the work.
Isn't it funny how cons can keep you so busy?
Yeah, well, and the voice actor's schedule is significantly different from my own. Mm-hmm. The bulk of my day is spent attending a table in Artist Alley and then doing panels, whereas the voice actors have signings, they've got panels for themselves to do, they've got press, they've got other things that they'll schedule in and outside of their hotel rooms. Sometimes they're recording auditions on the go and stuff like that. They're constantly working.
So you said that this is kind of like sets your kind of monitor, like a meter for the rest of the con season. So as far as it is right now, Saturday night, how is Anime Milwaukee treating you, and how is the start of this con season for you?
It's fantastic. Anime Milwaukee consistently sets the bar higher and higher year after year, and this year is no exception. In fact, today's sales numbers, based on my calculations, more than doubled last year's Saturday sales numbers, so I'd say we're doing pretty well. Sunday could be a wash and it would just equal last year's total weekend, right? So we're doing pretty good sales wise, and on top of that too, you've got the panel attendance, and people are just very engaged, asking really good questions about how to make comics. We've done 2 panels so far this weekend out of 3 total scheduled. The first one was about writing for comics and manga, and we had some really interesting Q&A and discussions going on there. And then today we did a workshop with my artist for Albert the Alien about how to draw an alien, and it was a hands-on workshop. People participated. We just had a lot of fun for an hour. It was a good time. So again, a lot of bars get set at this show, in those respects and those capacities. A lot of the staffers have become very close personal friends of mine at this point, just doing the show as long as I have. And it's just something that I really enjoy doing, in a good way to kind of start my year.
I have been very impressed with the staff both years I've been here, so it's good to hear that they're nice people as well as efficient. I'm sorry I missed your panel before. I always enjoy them whenever I can catch them.
I'll forgive you this time.
This time, 1 free pass. Next time, I better be there.
Yeah.
You even telling me that you even got roped into one that early, like you were just visiting one of a friend of yours, and you got roped in.
Yeah. So my buddy, I do have a couple of buddies that do the convention circuit with me that are local comic book creators and whatnot, and they had put his panel directly before mine, and I always show up to my panels a little bit early, and he was still doing Q&A for his panel, and somebody had asked a particularly difficult question, like one that requires a little bit of pondering before answering. And instead of pondering, I had walked into the room, and he goes, "Trevor, maybe you can answer this question," and throws the question to me. And so suddenly I'm participating in the last 10, 15 minutes of his panel for Q&A, which was fine and fun, right? Like, I don't mind doing that.
Yeah, I'm surprised you answered the question so well under that bus that he threw you. That's pretty good.
It's you help each other out, and he's my bro. Like, we hang out at these cons as well as outside of the cons all the time. He came to my wedding. We hang out every summer and go to Bristol Ren Fair. Just a really, really solid, down-to-earth guy. And I don't mind helping him out. Like, normally we'll do 1 or 2 panels a weekend together. And this year the convention just had us all do solo panels, which is totally fine. But doing panels together is very, very helpful because, one, you get a different opinion or a different perspective on a particular answer, and 2, you can kind of help each other out of situations like the one that he was kind of put in.
Sure.
And I feel like he gave an answer that was very, very specific, and I gave an answer that was a little bit more broad and open to interpretation, and hopefully between the 2 answers, the question was answered and the audience was happy.
I really do like that about cons, is where people kind of help each other out. There's like a really sense of camaraderie, I guess, that I like to get from most of these cons. So I like that it's among the guests as well. That's really cool.
It's a community.
Yes, that's a perfect word for it. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Last time I interviewed you, I think you mentioned that you had something in the works, an upcoming project that you can talk about. Did that see any forward momentum at all?
Yeah, so there are multiple projects that are always in the works, right?
Sure.
Several projects have probably dropped off of my table since that time. Other projects have probably been added on there. The biggest thing that we're really working on at the moment is still the Albert the Alien series. We're updating Chapter 18 right now. We're capping it at Chapter 20.
Right.
So a series that I've been working on for well over 6 years as a webcomic series, and almost 10 years in terms of a character, is finally wrapping up and coming to an end. So it's this bittersweet moment of, yay, I finally completed the story, and readers who were 10 years old when we started are now 16 and can actually get a new project out of me. And at the same time, it's saying goodbye to a cast of characters in a world that I really enjoy and have had an opportunity to live in for the last decade. and sadly, I won't get to play in that sandbox anymore. Maybe down the road I'll write a sequel or something. We'll see. But that was really kind of the motivation behind it, was recognizing that our readers who started off with us have aged out of the category. It's a young readers series.
Right.
And it's time to give those readers something as well. So the successor that we're going to end up doing, I guess I can talk about a little bit, is in the same universe as Albert the Alien, but will actually be about the human that is the exchange student out in outer space.
Oh.
So it'll be a little bit more of a PG-13 kind of adventure comic in the vein of like Guardians of the Galaxy, with a little bit of a unique twist. And I pitched it to my artist, and he was not thrilled about it until he heard the pitch. And then once he heard the pitch, he was like, oh, wait, yes, that is something I'd like to work on.
Oh, okay. That's very interesting. I'm very interested in that. It also gives me a time to catch up, too. I thought it was really like you were on the last volume or whatever, but if I get like 2 more volumes, give me a chance to catch up for the finale.
We do a chapter online about every 3 months. So considering we've got 2 chapters and change to go, we're looking at a little over 6 months before the finale. We'll do another Kickstarter to fund the printing of Volume 4, and then we'll see where we go from there on the next project. We'll need a little bit of time to kind of get it ramped up and started, but likely we'll end up doing it as a webcomic unless a publisher ends up eating it from us first.
Sure. Well, that's fantastic. I hope all success for that and your successor series. That sounds great. Before we wrap up here, since you've been such a veteran of Anime Milwaukee, I was just wondering if you had any special stories or experiences you'd like to share from maybe this or any past conventions or that you've had.
Anime Milwaukee is unique in the attendance, in the staff, and kind of the Midwest friendliness that you get from these people. Again, I've been coming here so often that a lot of these people are family at this point. And there's very few other conventions where I've kind of felt that same sense of community and camaraderie. And so Corey puts on just an amazing time. The guests all now have opportunities to interact with some of the VIP attendees that are here. We all get to hang out in the green room. There's nothing like sitting there with a voice actor, in the green room and just kind of kicking back and hearing weird, goofy stories from inside the sound booth. Sure. It's not even my world, but it's entertaining as heck, and I enjoy it. Everyone has just this sense of calm and collectiveness, and yet there's also this energy and excitement in the air that keeps everybody just really, really on their toes, right? And in a positive way. Tonight we're doing Cards Against Humanity, which is a very unique experience. By the way that the people who host it do it, it's actually the only way I like to play that game anymore.
Sure.
And again, we're just going to have a fun time. And as a guest of the convention, my job is to make sure that everyone here has a good time. And hopefully I'm doing that. Clearly the convention continues to bring me back, so maybe I'm doing something right.
I would like to think so.
Yeah.
That's great. What a great Zen thing to go out on. Thank you so much for your time. Would you like to pimp out your stuff and your website, any place where people can find you?
Sure. TrevorAMueller.com is my website. Trevor A. Mueller is my Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Find me, follow me, friend me. And then you can also check out Albert the Alien every Wednesday and Friday at albertthealien.com, totally for free.
That is fantastic. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure, Trevor.
Yeah, thanks, man.
This is Nick here at Anime Milwaukee, getting just one last interview in before I leave. I am homeward bound, but I just could not leave without speaking to my friend, Gabo, was it?
Gabo, that's me. Gabo, Gabo, however you want to pronounce it, I don't care.
That's very magnanimous of you. I'll pronounce it however I like, I guess. So you are a very experienced artist. I was looking at some of your stuff before. You've worked for publishers like DC, Image. What are some of the titles you've worked on?
I started off working on a book called Elephant Man by Richard Starkings, and for anybody who knows or doesn't know Richard, he's been lettering comics since like the late 70s. So he lettered The Killing Joke, Astro City. He's like the godfather of font. So I worked on his book called Elephant Man, so you can see a couple of my things in there. And then moving on to DC, I worked on I was a colorist for DC, and I was coloring All-Star Western during the New 52 run. I also colored The Spirit for a while. And then more recently, I've been working on a series called The Life After, which just wrapped up last year. And then even more recently, I worked on a comic adaptation of the board game Dead of Winter for Oni Press. So that's where I'm at right now.
Wow, that's extensive. The title Elephant Men makes me think that it's a pseudo sequel to the David Lynch film.
Oh no!
Like, is it the aliens to the alien, or
no? It's they're like animal hybrids. So there's like human animal hybrids are created to fight a war versus like America and Africa. So it's like Blade Runner, but with like giant, massive, there's an elephant guy, there's a hippo guy, every like major Saharan animal you can think of is there, so you've got like the hyena. At some point they have like tigers, and it just think of Blade Runner, and it's just it looks just like Blade Runner, but with animals in it. I guess it's really good. It's a really good read.
I always thought that Blade Runner would be better if Bebop and Rocksteady were in it. So that's definitely, I'm gonna definitely check that out.
100% that. Exactly.
So there's a comic book version of Dead of Winter, or comic book adaptation, you were saying. So that was cool. I actually saw some of that online, some of the covers anyway. And I love that most of them are of the dog.
Yeah.
That's my favorite character, for sure. Yeah. Even one where he is jumping through a crowd of zombies with his samurai sword and cape. Very cool. So what was that like working on Dead of Winter? Have you played before?
I played it initially when Oni Press first told me, like, hey, do you want to work on this title? So I started researching it. They ended up sending me a box, like the board game. They ended up sending me. So I played it, a few times, and I mean, it's awesome. It's an amazing game. It's like a survival game, obviously. But in the book itself, the main character is Sparky the dog. So he's basically just tearing down zombies left and right, and he's immune to the zombie virus because obviously he's a dog. But yeah, at some point he does rip through a ton of zombies with a samurai sword, and that's issue 3, and that's like you'll see the cover and you're like, everyone is like, okay, I need this in my life right now. So
a war with elephant men, dogs, samurai, zombie killers. Is there anything you worked on that isn't unbelievably rad sounding?
I've done a few not titles, I guess. I've done a few things that were more drier, But for the most part, I've been very, very fortunate in a lot of the projects that I've worked on. I get to draw whatever I want. So a lot of the writers that I worked with, they know my strengths.
I really like the idea of artists and writers working so close together collaboratively. You've worked with a friend of the pod, Trevor Mueller, haven't you, for his series Albert the Alien?
Oh yeah. No, I've been working with Trevor since probably about a decade now. 2008, we started Albert the Alien, and it was part of this book called Reading with Pictures, which is a book designed to get comics into the classroom. So it basically teaches kids how to, learn math and science and everything that a growing kid needs through comics. And I mean, a lot of us, I think, who are into comics and anime and all that stuff, we learn differently. We learn visually, and I think the world hasn't quite gotten a grip of the fact that some kids learn through visual mediums, and so that's what Reading with Pictures is doing. And so Albert the Alien is it was born there, and we decided, hey, this is a great idea, and he's the first foreign exchange student from space. So we're like, well, let's keep it going. So for the past 10 years, we've just been working on a webcomic that has yielded 3 successful Kickstarters for volumes 1, 2, and 3. So it's been a long ride with him.
That's fantastic, though. But that's a noble thing. I really think that's a great thing you guys are doing. Real big fan of Albert the Alien. I also wanted to ask you about, I saw on your website something called Enter the Void, which looked very interesting. It was like some sort of artist fight club, if I'm getting that right. Would you like to explain a little bit about that?
We're not supposed to talk about it, but just because it's you. Yeah.
Enter the Void. Okay.
But because it's you, I'm going to let you in on the secret. It's basically just Enter Void. But back in 2001, I think, I started this website with a bunch of my internet buddies, and we wanted a place to do comics, but battle each other's like OCs, original characters, right? So basically the rules are you create a character, you do their design, so it's like, 1, 2, 3 different poses. And for anybody who doesn't want to skip ahead, the website is entervoid.com. But so you create this character and then you submit it for approval, because there's a certain level of quality that we look for, a standard, just so that the level, the playing field is a little bit level. And so basically the concept is you pick a fight with someone else, like let's say your buddy, he's got a robot character and you've got like a lizard character, and you're like, yo, let's have a battle. You pick the terms, you say, all right, we're going to do 4 pages in 3 weeks. And then after those 3 weeks are up, you submit your pages, and then they get uploaded, and then they go live on the website, and the general public chooses, or they pick a winner based on like 3 different criteria, which is like, like how the story was, how well it was drawn, and just the basic creativity, I think it was. And so this website's been running obviously since 2001, and it's gone through many iterations, and there's been a lot of different artists that have gone through. We've had like hundreds, if not thousands, of different artists, including there's a guy named Kenneth Rockefort, who is like the superstar at DC right now. There's James Stocco, who's worked on things like Wonton Soup and Godzilla. There's Marley Zacone. She's working on the Ever-Changing Girl. I think that's the name of the title for DC. There's a ton of like professional artists that once came from there. So it's like a breeding ground for, like comic book artists.
That is so cool. I love the idea of getting a chance to prove your craft in a gladiatorial type arena in which the fans yay or nay you. That is really cool. Something very ancient and visceral about it. I love it. So obviously this is not your first convention, I'm assuming. So I was just wondering, before we let you go, is there anything at a particular Anime Milwaukee of this one or anyone's past that have stuck out to you, or a good experience that you've had?
Usually it's just the crowd of people that come here. It never fails at any convention that you go to. You see all the bad things that are happening in the world right now. Like, as of right now, like, we've had another mass shooting last week, so it's, it's very tragic, but I feel like those things don't happen at shows, and I think it's because if you believe in good energies and bad energies, I feel like there's some sort of protective bubble around the convention center. And that's not saying that bad things haven't happened here, but I think massive bad things seem to stay away from it. So when you come to these shows, I think like 99.9% of the people here are like ecstatic to be here, and this is their one place to let loose. So for anybody who's ever wanted to go to a convention, and you don't feel yourself, in your high school or in your college or at home, this is a place for you to come to and and be yourself, to find yourself, and even find some artists if you what's the word? If you're, like if you want to commission, or you yourself are an artist and you want to learn, how to be better, or even how to get into the game of, selling at conventions. Like, a lot of these artists are very receptive, and they love talking about, like their process. And I recommend any like young artists to come out here. And if you see me at a show, come up to me, talk to me about art, and I love talking about art. I do a Twitch stream 3 times a week, that's what I'm about. I love teaching.
Great. I love all the talk about good energy and good vibes too. I always feel like that's pretty prevalent at any convention I go to. But you know what else is giving me good vibes? This interview. It was fantastic meeting you. This is great. Would you like to tell the people where they can find you on your, you mentioned your Twitch stream, your website, or anything like that, so they can see, your lovely work?
Yeah, you can basically find me anywhere at Galvosaur. If you just Google Galvosaur, you'll find me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Twitch, basically everywhere. Maybe not MySpace, because, I don't think anybody's there, and I'm not a musician. So, but yeah, that's basically it. Yep.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Have a great day and a great rest of your con. And we're back. Thank you guys so much for all those lovely interviews. An absolute blast recording them. It's fantastic. Again, just wanted to mention before we got on out of here that if you'd like this episode, please share it on your Facebook and, your Twitter, your whatever your social media might be. We would really appreciate it. We can do more cons that way if we get a little bit more out there and people start recognizing our names. Also, if you are in the PlatCon area at any point next week, Platteville area, some kind
for
of
PlatCon.
We will be in for PlatCon. Yes, thank you for the clarification. I cannot talk. But the words, what do they mean?
Make them go.
What make them do the things I want. But yeah, we'll be in that area as well too. So it's gonna be a fun time. It'll be our first time having a booth and selling stuff. Not a whole lot, but we're starting small, but it's still exciting. You know what? I'm kind of excited to see how it goes. We'll be doing more conventions during this summer, and we'll let you know what and when they are when we get to them. And yeah, with that, we're gonna get out of here. But rather than doing our traditional sign off. We're going to cut to our drunk interview. We'll wrap it up with that. Just think, so if your drunken foolishness is not your cup of tea, you can cut out right here. But with that, I hope you enjoy this drunken tomfoolery that I got up to with some of the lovely con-goers at Anime Milwaukee. Thank you so much for listening, and see you at the next con.
Gather round, ye lads and lasses, set ye for a while, and hearken to me mournful tale about the Emerald Isle. Let's all raise our glasses high to friends and family gone, and lift our voices in another Irish drinking song. Consumption took me mother and me father got the pox. Me brother drank the whiskey till he wound up in a box. Me other brother in the troubles met with his demise. Me sister has forever closed her smiling Irish eyes.
This is Nick with the UGO podcast. I don't know if you guys have listened to the podcast for long, but when I do a convention episode, I like to do a drunk interview or two. I have found the most drunken, the most reprehensible retrobates I could find at this lovely Anime Milwaukee. And I would like to get some names going around here. Let's start on my left. Let's go.
Oh, this is Peter Quill, the Star-Lord. You will find me as the most reprehensible. Can't say that word. My name is actually Andrew Errett. Yeah, how's everybody doing? Yeah, let's keep going.
See, that's what you get from drinking alien whiskey. All right, let's go. Jack, can you describe yourself a little bit?
Yeah, my name's Elijah Cooper. It is what it is. Welcome to the party.
Wait, so your name's Elijah?
It's not Elijah. I'm going by Elijah Cooper.
I've already said your name is Jack. The jig is up, Jack. Mm-hmm. And you are?
My name is Jordan. I'm a Milwaukee native, and I'm here for the fun of it. And this is great. I love it.
Cool. And?
Well, hello. My alias is going to be Asia Minor. So if you ever see me taking off my clothes on stage, you'll know who I am.
Asia Minor. That's amazing. Okay, I was regretting this at first, but that name has made it all worth it. I'm looking forward to your sex tape. All right, how about over here?
My name is Danny Atramentum. I am an attorney and an independent author at atramentum.net.
Man, this podcast is not going to favor your career. Like at all. Like at all. Really, really bad decision-making skills. I would definitely not hire you. But just so that people understand the visuals of what I'm looking at here, let's go by the side. We have, of course, Andrew over here. We have Andrew. He had the Guardians of the Galaxy cosplay going on. He's got like the slick back hair. I kind of like it. He's got the librarian glasses, looking good. Jack's got these round professor type glasses, but he's got the beard of, say, a drunken lumberjack. It's confusing to me on an intellectual level. He's got a man bun in the back. There's a lot of confusing signals. I don't know what to make of it, Jack. It's a mess. I'm not going to lie to you. We have, of course, the person whose name I've already forgotten, Jordan. Jordan is cosplaying as a hipster, hopefully, because if that's your regular, he's got the flannel shirt, we got the backwards ball cap on. What's on the back of the ball cap? Is it
Ball cap is my Student Nurses Association school that I attend.
Ugh, turn it backwards. I regret asking.
Male nurse, yes.
Okay, Merce, turn the ball cap around. Wow. And I'm saying that, and it doesn't matter. If there's no visual to this, it's really bad. Also, we have some librarian glasses going on, and the hipster 5 o'clock shadow, really great. I'm just going to go around and insult all of my interviewers right now. So we have, of course, I'm forgetting your alias, Asia Minor, was it? Asia Minor. How could I forget a name like that? He's dressed up in some sort of Boy Scout cosplay. Very good. I'm not sure if it's a cosplay or some sort of ritualistic trophy from a dead Boy Scout enemy. It's really interesting. And, of course, the lawyer who is dressed up as I want to say Colonel Sanders as a lawyer? Or, I mean...
Rita Skeeter.
Grell Sutcliffe, heels and all.
So, do you start your closing statements with, well, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I may be a simple country lawyer, but it seems to me... Is that your normal MO?
I did once start a closing statement with, it takes 7 times viewing things in an advertisement to get you to believe them, which was totally made up on my part, so...
Wow, really putting some possibly grounds for reappeal onto the podcast. Love that confidence. Love the energy. Keep it up. I feel great about this. I think this is going great. So, guys, how are we enjoying Anime Milwaukee tonight? Woo!
Yes.
Pretty fantastic. Jack has not weighed in. Don't think I haven't noticed.
I've been having a good time. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, cool. All right, Jack being very taciturn. I don't think that's very like Jack. I've met him for a grand total of 3 minutes, but I feel like he is being very reserved right now. He might be a little shy. So, guys, what's been your favorite part of the convention so far?
People watching.
People watching. Okay.
Oh yeah, for sure the people watching.
I would have to say finding the bar. That was my favorite part.
Well, that has led you to me. So I would imagine, as narcissistic as I am, that would be your favorite part of the night. Jack, how about you?
There was a 24-person Settlers of Catan tournament, of course of which I would have totally dominated. Unfortunately, I only happened upon it when there was only 3 people in the final game, and I determined that the red player was going to win. Of course he's going to win, and I told him as such, and he knew he was going to win. And that was the last that I had left it at that. But yeah, Settlers of Catan tournament. I wish I was there much earlier, but I wasn't.
Being as white as you are, I feel like you have an unfair advantage in the colonizing game. I think so, but you know what? That is your prerogative to use it. I think that's fair. Andrew, how about you? We've already established that Jack's a racist colonizer, so there's no going back.
Just
Andrew,
keep going. I can't top that. Keep going.
No, okay, good decision on Andrew's part. Good decision on Andrew's part, finishing strong. Really good. He knows the game. So, guys, I want to ask you something, and I want to be real right now. Is John Hamm as sexually attractive to everybody else as he is to me?
I'll start this conversation off right now. As a long-time Mad Men fan, I would say John Hamm is absolutely sexually attractive. As Don Draper, yes. As John Hamm, not so much.
Well, me and Asia Minor were in a conversation earlier at the bar in what type of lover John Hamm was. And it was very interesting because neither him or I, me, a mostly straight man with the exception of John Hamm, and maybe even some more, I think Idris Elba's in there.
Yes, absolutely.
And him being a person of the queer representation also cannot determine what type of lover John Hamm is. And it's very vexing to me on a very personal level. I think he fits the gentle lover role, but also kind of the one that's a little more dominating and kind of punishing. I also see that he could be into bondage. I don't even see him out of the realm of a furry suit. He's very sexually ambiguous, and I want everyone's take on it, okay? Andrew, we're starting with you.
I had to look up John Hamm for a second.
Wow, okay, he is. Andrew, you were starting strong. You are not doing great.
No, I am not.
Not doing great. Okay, we're cutting to Jack. Jack, how we got?
I probably wouldn't fondle his balls, but if he asked me, I'd second guess it.
I'm not even sure what Jack said, so I'm going to take that as a sort of win. Jordan, what is your take on what type of lover John Hamm is?
I feel like I have a good perspective of John Hamm as a lover from watching Mad Men, and I would like to say that he is the epitome of a lover as far as Don Draper goes. As far as John Hamm is concerned, I'm not entirely sure, but Don Draper is a great character, and it's hard to see him go. That's all I have to say about that. But I would also like to comment that Idris Elba is amazing, and I second whoever said.
I will agree with that.
That was me. That was me. I also think he gets on there as the even straight people kind of having to question how straight they are when in the presence of Idris Elba. So, for the listeners at home, Jack is left during the conversation turning to John Hamm fuckability and Idris Elba fuckability, so we can add homophobic on top of the colonizer aspect. Jack having a real rough time in this podcast. Jack is not coming out ahead. Asian Minor, would you like to... You were as confused as me. Have you thought about it anymore? Did you like to add on top of that?
You know what? I think I'm still pretty confused about it, but I think John Hamm is... I think he would really do what I need before he does what he needs. Like, I really think that he would take my needs into consideration before his own needs. And that's a really big thing, especially in the queer community.
You envision John Hamm as a giver. Okay, so that's very interesting. You know what? I can see that as well. Do we want to win?
I think that he's a man who knows what he wants. I think that he's not afraid to take what he wants. And I think that generally that is going to involve the feminine crowd. But if a more male subject walks along that catches his fancy, I'm sure he wouldn't be afraid to take that as well.
So you imagine with a little bit of more danger in there, and from the lawyer's perspective, it automatically carries a little more weight than it probably should.
From the lawyer's perspective, I think it's a little relevant since I don't think I'm ever going to bang John Hamm in the future. But, you know...
We can all dream. We can all dream.
Guess, if I had to guess.
So, with that important issue out of the way, I have nothing else to ask because I am so goddamn drunk right now. Would anyone like to tell me what is their most favorite part of any past convention they've been? Any crazy stories any of you might have? Anything you might think might be interesting? Even if it's not interesting, I can make fun of it and make fun of how bad of a storyteller you are. No pressure, but that's probably what I'm going to do. Anyone, raise a hand, show of hands. Andrew, you got one?
All right, so last convention, I was at this very bar. I think this is, what is this, Bistro 333? Is that what it is? So I bought a couple girls a drink. They enjoyed it, and I will just leave it at that. And they left my room later that night. You want to go?
I'm sorry, wait a minute. You can't leave it at that, Andrew. That is not the rules of the podcast. So you bought them a drink, they're in your room at some point, but they leave the room later at night?
Yeah, around later that next morning.
Cool. Okay, so just to clarify, you didn't put anything extra into their drink, right? This isn't a Cosby situation?
No, I'm not a Cosby.
Not a Cosby. Okay, cool. So he's not into the slipping some Jell-O into their drinks. That's good.
Pudding pops.
No pudding pop. Is pudding pop a sexual act? No? Yes? It should be. It really should. Okay, guys, the next half hour of this is brainstorming what sex act is a pudding pop. All right? So obviously he's a man that doesn't kiss and tell. I respect that from Andrew. I like it. Little disappointed, not going to lie. But anyone else have a great con story?
All right. So I guess my con story kind of revolves around the birth of Asia Minor. So it comes as no surprise that Asia Minor is also my burlesque personality, a.k.a. me taking off clothes in front of a lot of people and being sexy.
1 second, Asia Minor. Okay. In the last 30 seconds, you've gotten at least 75% more interesting to me. Yeah? Just want to state that right off. Doing great. Keep it up. You're on fire.
Right. So I was at this convention in Madison called GeekCon, and this was last year, so 2016? Yes, 2016. And I accidentally bumped into this workshop that was all about burlesque, and I met these really wonderful ladies. They are the Gone Rogue Burlesque Troupe, based in Madison. They are some wonderful, amazing, sexy, sensual people, and it was just so empowering for me to see that, like, people, regardless of, like, who you are, like, what you're doing in your regular life, like, you could be sexy and you could be someone really amazing, like, and it just took that step to, like, get out there and to really show yourself. And for myself, I was really struggling through some tough things. That was the same year that I was coming out, so I was dealing with that. And to deal with that, I evidently developed an eating disorder, which was a really big problem. And I had really bad body dysmorphia issues. And after that burlesque workshop, I just felt this new way of looking at myself and thinking that sexy was not like this qualitative term. Like, it wasn't a quantitative thing where if you fall within this weight class, you are sexy. Like, it was something that you achieve from within yourself, and that I shouldn't have to rely on other people to call me sexy, but I can just be sexy. Like, it should not depend on other people.
Okay, well, that was fantastic. Okay, so that was the most heartwarming, eye-opening, and just great stories I've ever heard that started with the sentence, I was in a burlesque show in Madison GeekCon at one point. That took a left turn. I did not see that coming. Great Asia Minor. Loving it.
Here's the thing, though. Okay, so I haven't done drag ever, but if I ever did drag, my name would be Placebo, because everyone who's been with me says that I'm just as good as the real thing.
Oh! Okay. That's a high bar to set. Not only does he tell a great story, he ends it on a pun. Damn. That, I feel sorry for anyone else that goes after him. Speaking of which, anyone else want to go after that? Share Khan story?
All right, I suppose I'll risk it. I'll follow up.
Talk way louder than that.
All right, my name is Danny Atramentum.
Likes confidence. My lawyer friend.
Oh, all right. Well, in that case, so I was at a con one time. I was dressed as Phoenix Wright. I was in Daishokan. I was in a water park, carrying around a big objection sign, and this group of people came up to me, and actually, I don't really have an end to this story. I really just jumped into this. I was very unprepared for this. I really wanted to follow up. I had a pun going, but I didn't. I'm gonna. No, it's not. I should go for the plea bargain right now because it's not working. All right.
Counselor, if I may interject, if there's not a point to this story in the next 5 minutes, I will hold you in contempt.
5 minutes is a very long time. You should cut it off right now.
And we have the rare instance of the lawyer throwing himself in contempt. I'm going to take the microphone away from you. Guys, this has been an unbelievably great experiment. I feel like it's gone great. Future sober me will very much regret this. But right now, I'm feeling awesome about it. Thank you guys so much. Have a great day and a great rest of your con.
Me drunken Uncle Brendan tried to drive home from the bar. The road rose up to meet him when he fell out of his car. Irony was what befell me great-grand-uncle Sam. He choked upon the very last potato in the land. Connor lived in Ulster Town, he used to smuggle arms until the British killed him and cut off his lucky charms. And dear old Father Flanagan, who left the Lord's employ, drunk on sacramental wine beneath the altar boy.
Now everybody's died, so until our tears are dry, we'll drink and drink and drink and drink, and then we'll drink some more. We'll dance and sing and fight until